What is that doing on there? Get rid of that.
Oh God, here we go again.
The Oscar statue's there. We don't have to worry. I say we don't have to worry with that, but with all the news that's happened over the past week over that whole thing, like,
I mean, feel free to like go into that real quick. I'm kind of trying to work on something while we do this. So, there has been some developments since we last left everyone.
yeah,
I'm almost worried to even bring it up because people are probably so sick of it at this point.
yeah, that's the problem. The only thing of note is, per the rumours that he could be expelled himself, Smith's resigned himself from the academy.
Yes, he is no longer within the academy.
Yeah, so I feel like the only thing left to do at the actual hearing thing is to ban him from the ceremony. That's really the only thing left, isn't it?
I think that makes the most sense at this point. I hate to think that way, but I mean that's well,
I mean, I would think it'd be like a temporary ban, but I don't know how long a temporary ban would be. It'll at least be long enough that they need to get somebody else to present actress next year.
Yeah.
It's funny to mention that because there we go. I had to take care of that. All right, so in a way around this, there's actually something I can say. I don't have any advanced knowledge of this, but I do know that this does happen. Now, I am not aware if Ashley is aware of how a trespass works. That's my guess. What will possibly happen to Will Smith? So, like again, everyone knows I work for a theme park, which got some good newski my way right before we went live today. So fingers crossed for that. I will state right now that sometimes if you do something horrendous, you can get trespassed, and your trespass can be anything from like a week, a year. It could be lifetime ban. I can see where you're coming from. That I don't necessarily know if this is going to be like you're banned for life from the academy, but I do think it's going to be a little while before you see Will Smith involved in anything involving the academy because of what happened.
And his, much to my dismay, because I fucking loved Bad Boys 3 so much.
I saw that. Yeah, that got dropped today, didn't it? Like literally.
It says that they didn't cancel it. It's just paused, and I think wasn't he? Is it Nicky Barnes he's supposed to be playing? They paused that as well.
That sounds right.
I know
It's the same. It was the same character that Cuba Gooding Jr. played in American Gangster. He was playing in a different movie.
That's cool.
I think that's what it was. I could be mistaken.
The one I haven't kept an eye on what's happened today, but the only one that I knew was that Netflix one. I can't remember the working title was. That the director dropped out like a month ago anyway. That they were rapidly looking for a new director. They are now no longer rapidly looking for a new director.
Okay, so here's the thing. We already got comments in chat. That's a normalcy. That's how it works around here. Okay. Pause for just a moment. We will get to chat. There's a Q&A for a reason. But to cut out the middleman from what happened last time, where we never got a chance to really discuss what we were getting ready to discuss, we're just going to do it right off the top. So that's when the Q&A comes in, and that's when we'll talk to Spencer and Cassie and Lorraine and Josie and Brian and the rest of our loyal chat viewers and ones that are lurking at this point. But right now, we're going to talk about what we're doing. AJ brought this idea to my mind a while back, saying that he wanted to see, he was enjoying what was going on with the chat, which is weird to think if you don't know AJ, or if you have an idea about AJ, that he would enjoy something like this, because he would be the last person I'd ever expect to do something like this. But we're having so much fun with you guys and girls right now that we want to continue. And we want to make this so it's something outside of award season, that we continue this group we have, and this time do exactly what the Popcast Network was supposed to be, back in 2013 when we first became Pop in the first place. Like, we have our anniversary coming up on May 1st. We have been a channel since 2012, but we have been the Popcast Network since 2013, May 1st, mind you. And what we're doing is we're adding to the catalog of the Sippin' Snacks, of the Verses, of the AJ's movie reviews, the Ashley Snack Stashes, the Gaming with Ash content, all of the Voices of Liberty video. There's concert videos that are coming up. And we're adding to this, which is going to be a new bi-weekly segment. And the reason why it's bi-weekly is because we can't do it every week, because if we did it every week, you know, we don't really have a way to be prepared for what we're going to do. So this is improv. We don't have a script. We're just having some fun here. We don't know what you guys and girls are going to ask in chat, and we just roll with it. But what we do have is a concept. And that concept is Popcast Movie Club. What is Popcast Movie Club? Well, the three of us are going to come up with a film that everyone can watch. And then we're going to take that 2-week break and discuss that film the next week. We're going to have commentary from the chat. We're going to ask questions. Going to be done like in a book club but it's just going to be done with the movie. AJ and Ashley will probably bring some pretty obscure stuff, some probably critically acclaimed stuff, and I will bring all the randomness that you could ever ask for, including the one I'm going to choose today. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it Conrad style. We're going to vote in chat on which movie gets selected. And the movies that are left, those two will continue on the next week. And the person that you selected to do a movie for that week, they pick another movie for the next time. But I'm setting a rule right now. Here, my rule, I haven't discussed it with either of you. You can't go 2 weeks in a row. So if you choose Ashley one week, you can't choose Ashley the second week. You have to choose me or AJ, and vice versa. So that way, everyone gets a chance to discuss their movie of choice. And we get to open your mind up to some new movies you may have not seen in years, or may have never seen in my case. So we're going to have some fun here on Popcast Movie Club. That is the concept that we're going to roll with bi-weekly here on the network.
So
tonight,
basically, today in the poll that I'm going to put in chat, because I think I know how to do that stuff.
Oh, sweet.
It's going to
cool.
be... we're both submitting one, right?
Yes.
For consideration to talk next time. From the following week, or following episode 2, if you want to call it that, it will only be 2 in the chat, because obviously whoever wins won't be eligible for their film to be, so it makes sense that then you choose between the other 2 and then it mixes around like that sort of thing.
That's correct.
I'm really glad you guys started with this, because literally my first question was going to be, how are we choosing the movie?
I had that thought process for a while. I didn't know about putting the actual Polsky in the actual thing, but I do see a gimmick that looks like it might be a poll, so I'm going to guess that probably is that. So yeah, you get to vote in chat to determine which movie we're going to pick. And like I said, if you pick AJ this week, cool, awesome. Next week, it's going to be me or Ashley. And then after that, if you pick me, then the week after that, it's going to be Ashley.
And we're hoping that whatever our thing we're throwing into the ring is something that's accessible to everybody in one form or another.
Yeah.
The more there's a lot of really obscure stuff that's just hanging out on YouTube.
Yep.
But I don't know. I wouldn't know how to know like who has what streaming service and stuff like that. So
I will state right now that I'm positive there's going to be a lot of obscure stuff in this lineup. AJ knows right now of some things I have in mind, of things that I've already chosen in my head that are going to happen on here that I've been wanting to talk about on this network for a long time. As a matter of fact, I'm very excited to be able to revisit them again. some of my favorite movies, not like the greatest movies in the world, but movies that make me happy. Movies that I can identify with, and movies that I can just sit back and enjoy. Because there was a time that we weren't all critics about things. We just sat back and enjoyed movies. And sometimes it's fun to just do that. But now we get to talk about these movies after we haven't seen them in years and get a refresher course and bring others up to date with what these are. I'm very excited for this concept.
And it's also, and I don't think I have any reason to regret. What was that?
I just put the results of the poll up. Can you see this poll? Out of the 2 votes that we got, 2 said yes, and 0 said no, and 0 said no swearing. I just wanted to put a random third one in just to see if it got over. It didn't, so you know.
I would have appreciated Dan Howard referencing. So
you were saying, AJ?
Saying like I don't think I have any reason that I would regret saying this, but I also don't think we would be extremely like if we're discussing a particular movie, the movie that's been chosen, and then like there's kind of an off-topic question, it's not going to be like, no, we have to stay on topic. Like there'll be like periods where we can just bullshit too. So
yeah, we're gonna do some basically, and for all intents and purposes, we're gonna do pretty much what we've been doing, but we're adding a set concrete segment to it.
Yeah, like we can talk about whatever, but we'll have this one planned thing that we'll also talk about.
Correct.
Is essentially what it is.
I would love if we could set a time frame for this, but that's not how this works, and I get that. I mean, I'd like to maybe set like a 2 or 3 hour time limit, but I mean, honestly, it's the only thing that ever really affects me is when I have to work the next morning. That's it. So I mean, that's not crazy, so I should be fine if we're gonna do this like 2 times a week. I mean, take a shot 2 times a month. So, but yeah, I think we're settling. Take a shot. We're gonna settle on Monday as your date for the show, unless something happens with schedule. But we're looking at Mondays as of right now. Normally, AJ gets the weekend. Ashley gets sometime during the week. Voices video just pop up periodically. Same with the Sip and Snack videos. Ashley just sent me a Snack Stash little bit ago. You're going to see that pop up in a couple days. It's always good to have things in the can, ladies and gentlemen. So, just in case we need them. Because I still have a ton of videos that I've realized that, you know what, work's a really great way to upload videos when you're working and you can actually get things done and not have to pay attention. Just put it in your pocket, just wait on guests, and boom, there you go. Next thing you know, you got 3 new videos on your YouTube channel, and you can like work on them during your break and like put taglines in. That's what I did during my break today, actually. Because AJ's been having some issues with filming, and that's the reason why I took a minute to get the new review out. But it's out now.
Yeah.
And have new ones coming in the next 3 days as well.
Yeah, this was just all. Obviously, we're not going into this, but it was just a really shit week too. So
right.
there was that on top of it.
That's fair, and yes, I can understand that. Josie says, "I love the way AJ says the F word."
Just in general.
I guess. Hold on, we'll get to chat in a minute. I just wanted to drop that because that was mentioned real quick. So yeah, tonight we're going to pick our 3 movies. I guess we're going to do a little like brief synopses of what we're getting yourself into if you've never seen or heard of these movies before, which I know AJ's, and I definitely have heard of this movie. And I got an idea with Ashley's. I definitely have heard of that movie, but I know AJ knows the movie I'm choosing. I don't know if Ashley does, and I don't know if chat does. But it's been something that I've been a fan of like forever. So I mean, ever since I saw it for the first time. So yeah, I think we're gonna pick our movie right now, and after we go through all our 3 options, and then once we do so, once we have our topic in place for 2 weeks from today, we are going to go into our Q&A, and we'll just see how long we can go. So it's gonna be the 18th as of right now, unless something changes. All right. So keep your questions. We are going to go into them. Do not worry. just keep your questions for a minute, and then right now we're going to go into what we're going to put up on the lineup for the first Popcast Movie Club. Exactly. The bell knows it. AJ, what is your choice for movie number 1?
Well, I got really inspired, and I just talked about how I just rewatched this movie last year, and I was super psyched about it, and I'd really love to watch it again and discuss it at length. The chat at one point showed interest in Altman, so my choice is The Player.
Okay. There's a reason why I ended up doing the circumstance where I said you can't pick 2 people in a row, because AJ's going to throw out heavy hitters like this. It's going to be really hard to beat AJ or beat Ashley. I know that. Ashley, what is your choice for Popcast Movie Club Week 1?
My selection is an anniversary film, because this year is the 50th anniversary of not just The Godfather, but the original 1972 Sleuth with Laurence Olivier and Michael Caine.
When we were talking a little bit earlier, I told Owen I hoped that would be your choice because I really want to revisit it.
Okay. Like I said, heavy hitters.
Oh,
AJ and Ash. Gonna go ahead.
Worth noting, I didn't even mean to do this. Mine's an anniversary as well, 92.
Yeah.
Well, mine's not. Mine's 1985.
Yeah. Anniversary of something.
Sure, we'll go with that. Okay, so when I was growing up, I remember watching HBO and Cinemax, and I had Showtime for a while. Mainly Showtime I watched for Super Dave and Gary Shandling, and that was it. And that's what you watch Showtime for, Super Dave and Gary Shandling. That being said, I used to watch a lot of HBO, and I used to come across a lot of really random movies, and a lot of, like, I can't even call them cult classics. I don't know anybody that knows the existence of these movies. And the only reason AJ knows the existence of these movies is because I remember introducing them to him via a VHS copy. That's a shoot, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm looking at the recent passings that you've had in life, and I'm looking at the cast here. It actually makes sense. So we have recently had passings of Sally Kellerman and Fred Willard, and 2 characters that are in this movie that they're very awesome characters that I very much enjoy. Kellerman, of course, is the heel. Fred Willard is a really awesome character. He has a pipe and everything. It's wonderful. I picked 1985's Moving Violations. Yeah, this movie's great. It's such a guilty pleasure, but I don't feel guilty about it. It's got Jennifer Tilly in it. It's got John Murray. Yeah, you know, the Murray brother that no one really talks about. Yeah, it's really a fun movie, basically about a group of people that they end up having to take traffic school, and it's all of them end up having to band together to stop the judge and the sheriff from working together, because they've impounded their cars and now they have to get them or they're going to lose their jobs, lose their livelihood. It's really funny. And it's got a Don Cheadle character from, like, way, way back in the day, and the long, long ago, in the way before times. I believe it's one of his first roles ever, actually. But yeah, it's got a lot of really great performances. So, you know, the Wendy's Where's the Beef lady, she has a really awesome line, and she ends up getting, like, and there's, like, Clara Peller in the movie, and then there's all sorts. That's who I'm referring to. And of course, one of my favorite lines is her getting really drunk, and it's like, I can't do the line because I can't curse on here, but she's super drunk, and she's an old lady, and she curses, and I remember her, like, saying the F word drunkenly, and it makes me laugh every single time I think about it. And yes, we've got The Player, we've got Sleuth, and we got Moving Violations. Chat, it is your call.
We're going to leave it up for the rest of the stream, just to let everybody...
Oh, that's awesome.
everybody get the chance to vote.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So if you're coming in late, okay, you haven't got the gist, but you've got the idea of like what is on option to talk about in a couple of weeks.
So when I predictably lose, you'll have to pick one of mine. You'll have to pick this movie for 2 or 3 weeks down the line. So keep that in mind. AJ knows I've got some zingers up my sleeve. One of my favorite horror movies that no one's ever heard of. A Canadian wrestling comedy, which I love so much. And the reason why Michael Higgins is a god to me when it comes to comedic acting. That, all, and more coming here to the Popcast Movie Club. So yeah, we'll leave the chat up tonight, and you guys and girls out there can vote for what you choose. And at the end of the show, we'll announce the winners, and we'll keep the other options for week 2. Josie says I voted for yours to make you feel better. Mercy vote. Thanks. Josie, you'll like the movie. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's going to be nice to watch it again, too. I'm excited about that.
I need to hope that I can find it on Amazon, because otherwise I'm screwed.
We'll have a conversation, Ski, about that. Don't worry. Okay.
Moving Violations is available on Blu-ray, and that shocks me.
Wow.
Genuinely
He just told me. We were chatting when I was walking home and everything, and he basically told me, it's like, yeah, Moving Violations is on Blu-ray. And I was like, what the heck? Someone did that? Really? Well, another movie that is that I'm going to bring to Popcast Movie Club. I don't know if it's on Blu-ray, but it is on DVD, and that kind of shocked me too. So, all right. So we'll keep watch on the chat. That is the Popcast Movie Club, and we will have your first movie to be discussed at the end of the show. Let's have some fun, ladies and gentlemen. I can barely see this, so I see right now AJ's winning, shock surprise. Water is wet, 'tis the season. Needless to say, I can barely see this, but I think if I read this correctly, Ashley Spencer Reed is the first comment.
Yeah.
Cool.
The first one is ironically actually carried over from last week. I just checked. A movie that you wonder, how did this get made?
Well, before anything, shout out to the podcast. How did this get made? With,
there you go.
It's Paul Scheer, Jason Mantzoukas, and June Diane Raphael, and it was recommended to me by my friend, and it's one of my favorite things that exists. It's essentially the movie club. It's just for bad movies. And the 3 of them together, and they usually have a guest, and it's amazing. So you'll have a lot of answers that come with that. But
you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay. Because you brought up something as a bad movie, and I have a choice in this thing, and you know exactly what we're finally gonna get to talk about on this network very soon. You know what you can do with your situations? You can put them in your pocket.
Oh shit! Who said that?
Yes. Somebody that's going to be very, very much near you very soon. The line is stories in your pocket, but at the end of the day, I'm going to say you can put your suggestions in your pocket because something's coming to this count. It's going to happen. There's no way around it, AJ. We're going to discuss it one day. And there's nothing you can do about it. Anyway.
What else can be said about that piece of shit?
See,
you finally talked about it on this sound that you ate it. So there you go.
I'm just sat here oblivious, so I'm just going to go, smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
There you go, Ashley.
You're talking about the fucking room, right?
Oh, of course I am. Absolutely, I'm talking about the room.
We're going that far.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the problem with the pro. I don't. There's two problems with The Room. Number one, all the jokes have been made. Number two, that movie's not even fun. It's fucking boring. Like, I can't even find the humor in it. It's just, I hate it. Like, genuinely. Like,
It's fun to watch it's fun to watch as a shoutback theater. It's kind of like watching Rocky Horror.
that would be so fucking. I just told you. There's the theater that we go to that's about 40 minutes from here. Greg Sestero is going to be there for a screening.
I'd love to be there for that.
Honestly, while meeting Greg might be kind of cool, I have no intentions of ever seeing The Room in a theater with a crowd like that. I would kill myself.
I already have. And remember, did I ever show you the pictures of all the spoons, all the plastic spoons on the ground after the showing was over?
I can imagine.
Really cool trip effects and everything. It was a Fathom event. Nice.
As far as the question at hand, I feel like there's. We know what's really funny is I kind of bring that question up in the review that's coming out tomorrow that I've already shot. There's a movie that made me say this.
My answer, Spencer, honestly, is a movie that I absolutely hate, and I don't know why it got made in the first place. But I guess I understand. I don't know why. I don't understand why someone made The Hangover. I don't get it. I just never got it. It was a personal vendetta I had, which ironically enough ties into the good news I got today, weirdly enough to think about it. But at the end of the day, I will say that I don't understand why something like that people find funny. I mean, there's a movie called Very Bad Things, which is like a billion times better. That if you want to watch that concept, just watch that. It's a better movie overall. Better performances, better acting, better jokes, better. It's a lot more dark.
I've got one.
Go ahead.
It's an ironic choice, given that it's me. It's one that I am dying for the How Did This Get Made podcast to do. Because it's a gold mine. As much as I want to support it, and my heart wants to support it, I will easily say that about Wild Mountain Thyme. I don't know what the fuck that movie's deal. But once again, that movie has a twist. I mean, if you saw the video I did on it, I just bring it up. But I mean, that on top of Dornan's performance in itself, and like everybody was going after the accents and stuff like that. That movie's the accents will be the last thing on your mind if you watch the absolute basket case that movie is. That's the one that comes to mind. But there's so many answers to that, I'm sure. But that one stands out. And like I said, I would campaign entirely for the How Did This Get Made podcast to do an episode on it.
Okay. So we move on to our next. Oh, hi, Cassie. Brian says, forgot to mention the last podcast about the King's Speech. Rush and Carter should have won both supporting categories. Definitely an argument can be made.
I don't get the Carter love for that movie. I never have.
No, you never did.
And of course, while I certainly think the Academy made the right choice with Bale, Rush is incredible in it. And like I said, it's always amazing to see a great actor play a bad actor.
Oh yeah. Josie goes, hey, Popcast team, just finished reading Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Fantastic fantasy novel. Very nice. Good to see you're continuing your delving into the sci-fi novels, sci-fi fantasy novels, given the fact that we have what could be the quintessential sci-fi film of all craziness, which is going wide this coming week. supposed to go wide. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
I know you'll get it because you're close enough. Brian says, despite how long Beautiful is, Bardem should have won Best Actor.
I mean, I still think it should have been Eisenberg.
Oh, God, yes. Easily.
But yeah, that's a heavy movie, and it's. Yeah, I haven't watched. I've been planning to like marathon Inarritu's movies.
Interesting.
Because he's made because starting from like his trilogy and then what he's been doing with like Birdman and The Revenant, it'd be such a random ass journey. But
Yeah, definitely would be.
I was trying to remember if there was any news on his new movie. I remember hearing about something like that, but I don't really know what it is.
Ashley laughs for some reason. Ashley, do you know something we don't?
Not the next comment, but the comment after it. It's from Josephine.
All right. Josie says, I recently watched Clute and Love Affair, both very good.
Which Love Affair?
Specifically the 39
39.
one is what Josephine says.
Nice.
Josie also mentions in Inarritu having a movie coming out 2022 with controversy surrounding it because one of the crew members I believe, died of COVID.
Oh.
Brian said, I started my Oscar movie marathon, Riding with Fire, and finished with A Yak in the Classroom. Tomorrow is Raya and the Last Dragon. And he watched Doctor Strangelove for the first time on Saturday.
Nice.
We watched that theatrically. I do remember that. Unless I'm losing my mind. Because I'm positive we did.
I did for sure. I don't think you were there. I think you were in. I saw it in September. You would have been down there at the time.
I swore we saw that at some point.
I know. I definitely did.
I know you did.
I'm almost positive you weren't there.
What year was this?
2016, I think.
I would have been down here for Horror Nights for 26. Yeah, that sounds right. I swore we watched it though. I forget very easily. You guys this by now.
That's another one we've never talked about since we've had this channel that would be really fun to go into.
Yeah.
And there was something. Oh, another thing I was going to say was I think it's funny that Brian started his Oscar marathon with the 2 nominees that I missed. I think those might have been the only 2. Those might have been the only 2 feature-length nominees I didn't see. I think from this year.
So I think I speak for both of you when I think that this buy one, rent one, lose one that Josie has come up with these last couple podcasts. Yeah, I think this needs to be a regular thing. So, you know what, Josie? We have a lot of ideas every single time. Every week on the Popcast Movie Club, come up with one, just one.
Only one.
And we'll go into it. It'll be part of a regular segment on PMC every single 2 weeks that we do the show. Because you have so many great ideas, I definitely want to roll with that. You can tie it into what we're talking about. You can be completely random. Doesn't matter. But I like this idea. Because there's this gimmick that I've seen on Keaton's Facebook page where they choose like the year and the date, and you choose which VHS you would rent if you were there right now. I love this concept, and I feel like this is our version of that. And basically it's FMK, but at the end of the day, it's done in a different way and done in a cool way because you're picking which movie you love, which movie you want to see, and which movie you want to get rid of permanently. And I love this idea. So, Josie, continue. We're going to do this moving forward after we do the show tonight. So, that being said, she has a few. Buy one, rent one, lose one. Basketball edition. First, Uncle Drew. Hoop Dreams. White Men Can't Jump. Like Mike. Space Jam.
What was the first one?
Hoosiers.
Oh, should have known. Well, Uncle Drew's out.
Yeah.
That's easy. I haven't. I have not watched Hoosiers again. Look how dusty Hoosiers is.
Oh
It's
my god. It looked
it's
like it was in my old trailer, actually.
it's
Laying on the ground some.
also I feel like this one video that I did on here was Coach Carter and Glory Road. I feel like those are missing, but did you do you I'll stick to the ones that she mentioned.
Okay.
Um it's hard to say Hoosiers because I don't really. It's been a very long time, but I know it would have to be one of the top two, surely.
Okay.
But what were the others? Hoop Dreams, White Men Can't Jump.
Like Mike in Space Jam.
White Man Can't Jump is so good. I rewatched it a couple of years ago and I forgot how really good it is. Even the Jeopardy subplot feels like it should not belong at all, yet somehow it does.
Of course.
I mean, Hoop Dreams is another one that's objectively great, but documentaries don't really. There's only a handful of documentaries I really, really love.
Sure.
I don't know if I. That probably sounds a little uneducated, but um, I might go ahead and put White Men Can't Jump at the top.
Okay.
Then I almost feel like going with one of the childhood ones with Space Jam or like Mike, but fuck it, I will. I'll stick with Space Jam because, like I said, I may have said this in the video we did too. Um, there was a very, very brief period where Space Jam didn't work for me anymore. Where
Interesting.
I watched it once in adulthood and I was like, oh yes, it's still great. I'm so happy. But then I watched it again and I wasn't into it and I was like, this isn't how I remember it. But then like 2 years after that I watched it again and I loved it again. So it's I don't know, and that was only that one time too. There was only one time I ever turned on Space Jam and it never happened again. So I'll say that.
Okay. Ashley, what's your choice?
I know, like I said, I know over Hoosiers and Hoop Dreams that's really weird, but like I said, it's me and documentaries don't always get along, and Hoosiers is just in desperate need of a rewatch. Is all. So
Okay.
yeah.
I would say probably buy White Man Can't Jump. Honestly, on the rental front, just for giggles, I'd actually go semi-pro. Because that's a film that I didn't
Not
think.
on the list. It's not on the list, Ashley.
But the problem is, my lose is Uncle Drew because one, I haven't heard of it, and two, I haven't heard of it.
No. To be fair, I'm sure we all have ones we put on there in place. But out of what they have, choose theirs.
Oh, I'd rent Space Jam just for Bill Murray.
AJ picked two that are not listed. You picked it's not listed. You have another one that you put in there as well?
No, that Uncle Drew would be my get rid of, and Space Jam would be my rent.
Okay.
Out of the three that are there, but it's weird. Semi-pro is like part of the time when I see all the adverts for this Lakers thing, it feels like it's a wannabe semi-pro.
Now that you mention semi-pro, I do just have to say, I really didn't like that movie. I just did. But with that said, it has one of my favorite running jokes ever, and that's the Jackie Earle Haley thing, where he spends the whole movie trying to cash one of those big prize checks. That's one of my favorite jokes in any movie ever.
We need to go to a big check department. So, Ashley picked one that's not on the listy. AJ picked two that are on the listy. I got two more that are not on the listy as well. When you talk about basketball movies, for me personally, two come to mind. Celtic Pride, and Eddie.
I love. Oh my god, I could sit here and tell you every single line of Celtic right now.
I will tell you right now, without giving anything away, I got a good feeling, a very good feeling, a feeling I know that Damon Wayans is going to get brought up a ton during this segment as long as I have my way.
Excellent.
Yes. And I love Eddie.
Let's talk about Bamboozled. Let's talk about The Last Boy Scout. We talked about Major Payne. We can do it again.
Oh God, yes.
Man.
You know the movie I want to talk about, and we're going to talk about it down the line. So, I love Eddie. I think Eddie is really funny as well. It's a very forgotten Whoopi Goldberg comedy that I really enjoy a lot. As it goes to what we have in the list, yeah, Uncle Drew done the party. I would definitely say I would rent Space Jam, and White Men Can't Jump is definitely my buy.
I love that was the consensus.
Oh God! So Josie has listed like 1,600 vampire movies, so we're gonna go with that. Interview with a Vampire, Shadow of a Vampire, Let the Right One In, The Lost Boys, From Dusk Till Dawn, Blade, Vampire's Kiss, Salem's Lot, Fright Night, Sundown, Vampire in Retreat, and Nosferatu.
Okay, first off, I love you for bringing up Sundown. Hang on just a second.
So I have to leave the podcast at some point eventually because Ashley left to go get food, AJ left to go get something, and I have to go get my Dark Horse at some point probably.
This is it. And this is amazing. Like, I had no idea what this was like 5 years ago, and then it got recommended to me. And it's when it starts off, it's fucking crazy. And then and as it keeps going, it gets crazier, and was like, it's one of those cases where you discover something. Well, I didn't really discover it, it was recommended to me, but where you just know that you feel like you've unearthed something. No pun intended, because vampires. But but yeah, I love that you brought this up because I've never heard anybody else ever mention it. And I think this Blu-ray is quite new. So yeah, I don't know. Are we doing the?
Yep.
Is this the buy, rent, get rid of thing?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Now that I've praised it that much, I don't think it's any of those. Given what our choices are. I don't suppose you'd want to run those down again.
I will. So, Interview, Shadow, Let the Right One In, Lost Boys, From Dusk Till Dawn, Blade, Vampire's Kiss, Salem's Lot, Fright Night, and Nosferatu. Because we're taking Sundown out of it, because you already put it over.
I wouldn't take any of those out. Oh man, are we talking about the original Nosferatu? Because there's that and there's Herzog's. And then the Fright Night and Salem's Lot could be. I'm assuming Salem's Lot's the 70s one.
Probably. I think Fright Night's probably the original as well.
Damn, those are all good. Every single one of those is good to great. Well, I'm always going to have a soft spot for the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys probably has to be at the top. Because that's just going with my heart thing. Interview with the Vampire is amazing. Oh, man. Fuck.
Josie, this is the reason why we're giving you a bi-weekly segment on this network to come up with one of these. Because these are so good.
I really hate saying this because I really, really love this movie. I guess the bottom choice would be Vampire's Kiss, which I feel really weird saying because I practically worship the ground that Cage walks on.
Correct.
But or frantically runs across whatever he happens to be doing. So does that leave the middle one?
That sounds right.
Well, obviously, the Tarantino fanboy in me wants to say From Dusk Till Dawn. Near Dark wasn't mentioned, was it?
Doesn't look like it now.
And we're not, and we're talking about Murnau's Nosferatu, not Herzog's.
That sounds correct. No confirmation. But yes.
If that's the case, the next one's probably Interview with the Vampire.
Okay. Ashley, what's your choice?
Probably just because it stayed with me so much, my buy would be Let the Right One In, because I legitimately did. Even after seeing it in the cinema. My rent would probably be Blade, because that had no right to be good, because it was a Marvel film in the 90s. Well, Marvel property film in the 90s. And if I had to go through that list, I'd probably say Salem's Lot, because it wasn't actually a film, it was a mini-series. And also, I've just found out we're getting a Salem's Lot in 2022 from the writer of the Annabelle films. We're fucked. We are fucked.
It's gotta be. I have more hopes for it than I do the new Firestarter. At least.
My actual pick for, like, get rid and, like, never see again. Bloody... my favourite, James Corden. Bloody lesbian vampire killers. I don't even remember whether that came out for you guys. If it did, God, you're lucky. It was him and his partner from Gavin and Stacey, Matthew Horn, basically being... it's sort of like Tucker and Evil, or Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but them versus, you know, like... no, yeah, but that, yeah. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is a good film. Lesbian Vampire Killers isn't. It's like The Room of Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but not in the ironic good way.
So, this is one of those situations that I don't really have much stake in, pun not intended. Yeah, did that on purpose. Because I haven't seen a lot of these. Like, shoot, I have not. So, I guess I really like Let the Right One In a lot. I remember watching it on the computer. I'm really much enjoying it. I like Let Me In too, actually. When they came to the theater, it was really well done. I have been a proponent of the Lost Boys coming to Halloween Horror Nights for years, and I still love to see it someday. Don't necessarily think it'll ever happen, but obviously it's on my list. Never watched. I remember watching the original Fright Night and enjoying it. Never watched Nosferatu. Never watched Salem's Lot. Never watched Interview with the Vampire. So I mean, my cell's gonna have to be Blade. Actually, weirdly enough, my rental is gonna be the Lost Boys. And yeah, let's go back to Halloween Horror Nights 24 and go back to From Dusk Till Dawn as my my buy. So I will buy From Dusk Till Dawn, I'll rent the Lost Boys, and I will sell Ski Blade. Josie mentions, have any of you ever seen Monster Squad?
Oh, yeah. It was one of those cases where I probably totally should have grown up with that, but I actually didn't see it till I was at least in my mid-20s.
Oh, wow.
But it had so... like, it's one of those cases where even though I didn't see it until my mid-20s, it felt like a movie I grew up with anyway when I watched it.
That's fair.
It's got that kind of special quality to it. And Tom Noonan as the Frankenstein monster is one of the best castings ever.
I feel as well, at least for kids, it's a good introduction to the characters by then forcing them to having to see the classic Frankenstein and the classic Dracula and like the actual classic ones from the 30s, 40s, and 50s in that respect.
Yeah, it's got kind of got like a Goonies vibe going to it. The way you were mentioning it, it's a movie that a lot of people grew up on, or a movie that you find later in life. You're like, oh wait a minute, I missed out on that. I was like, hey, I should have watched that when I was a kid. And it's like, and it immediately just resonates with you. This is the kind of questions we get. Josie says, favorite birthday party scene in a movie.
The first one that jumped in my head was Rocky Horror.
Oh God, yes.
Let's I also keep wanting to say Parasite, but that's not a birthday party.
Ghostbusters too.
Oh, with the Jason Reitman cameo?
Yes. No. I'm looking to see the options we have. Yeah, Rocky Horror is a really good go-to as well.
I would have thought there'd be more choices.
There's not many you would think.
I mean,
Outlier.
Yeah, with the petting zoo. I'm not a fan of the movie, but yeah, the game is certainly an option. It's a memorable birthday party scene.
Punch Drunk.
Oh yeah, I think that one's really awkward, isn't it? If I'm remembering the right scene.
Yep.
Is that the one where he kicks the glass?
Correct.
Oh man.
Obviously, the big one everyone can always jump to is 16 Candles. You can't turn down John Hughes anytime.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Uncle Buck.
Oh yeah, the one where Mike Starr plays the drunk clown. That's right.
Let's see, we've got Parenthood. That's too depressing. We're not going with that.
The only thing I can think of that comes to mind, just because of the juxtaposition of it, is The Omen.
Yeah, that's in here.
Something interesting here. We talked about this when we did the video on it. Problem Child is like one of the top ones here. Do you know what's insane about that?
What is that?
There's a whole centerpiece in Problem Child that is this big birthday party where he dresses as the devil and he like throws out the presents and causes all that chaos.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was so disjointed while it was being made. That entire birthday party scene is a reshoot.
Oh wow.
That wasn't there before. Because it was the first one to come to mind. I'm kind of just thinking of going with like Rocky Horror, but
that's a fair one.
I feel like there's a more appropriate one, I guess, but it's not coming to me looking at these lists here. So
I guess we'll shout out listal.com or listal.com because I'm finding this and it's basically listing all the movies that have these scenes. And it's got a search bar, so you can actually search for things. And it's actually showing the scenes of said birthday parties in the pictures. So I thought that's really cool they're doing that. It may help Josie questions, too.
I'm just using Google. That sounds much more helpful.
Let's see. Spencer Reed, thoughts on Amores Perros?
I remember just wanting to hug my dog after watching it. I remember I was probably like maybe 14 when I saw it, so I remember it being confusing because I was still getting used to like non-linear storytelling. Um, but yeah, that's always something I've always wanted to talk about Inarritu's trilogy, which I believe is Amoris Paris, 21 Grams, and Babel. I think it's the third one.
Yeah, we've talked about Babel in here before.
I don't think so. If we did, it was brief.
It was. That's the only time we've ever really discussed it.
See, I think it's probably like if I had to rank Inarritu's trilogy, it'd probably be in the middle, but once again, that I really need to rewatch those as well, especially now that I feel like I can absorb them a little better now that I'm like twice the age that I was at the time.
Like, it's got to be a time somewhere down the line I need to rewatch Bloodwork to see if I hate it as much as I did back when I first saw it.
I also think was Gael Garcia Bernal in that? I'm pretty sure he was. If he was, that was yes. That was probably the first time I saw him because I don't think I had seen Utama También yet. So that's worth noting.
So, let's see. This year's Guillermo at the Oscars was a disappointment, says Brian.
This year's what?
Guillermo.
Del Toro.
No, I think he's probably talking about the Kimmel.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because a lot of people passed him by this time. He talked to Jada. That's a little awkward now. And I believe their brilliant marketing team made her the thumbnail of that video.
Since I'm sure we won't go into it the rest of the night, did you get a chance to watch what SNL did this past week?
Oh yeah.
That came across my Twitter feed the other day, and I had to watch it for myself. No. That's the only time I ever watch SNL, when it's like little like
Are you talking
like, pieces of
Are you talking about the skit or Weekend Update?
the skit?
When I first saw the skit, I thought it was really underwhelming because you kind of waited all week to see what they were going to do, but I watched the skit a couple more times and now I can really appreciate their approach where it was like the focus was his mood swings being really weird.
Yeah.
So after a while I appreciated it. And a lot of subtle lines were in there were really great, like when he says, "Hey, how about that selfie?" and Gerard Carmichael says, "I deleted my phone."
I deleted my phone. Yeah. So good. And of course, like getting jiggy with it plays as a ringtone. Oh, so good.
That was such a perfect summing up of the whole thing, where he's dancing to get jiggy with it, and with this insane look on his face, saying, "Everything's normal, y'all."
And it was dealt with better than Corden's thing. We don't talk about Jada.
That was bad.
He's so
that was
proud
really...
of his writers that he literally lobbied to have them paid less for their work.
He's no. I need to say anything more. Spencer,
please save us next week, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Spencer brings the questions again. Oh man, this is a tough one. Favorite original song from a movie?
Sorry if this is a cop out. Just immediately, right off the bat, I'd say "Over the Rainbow."
I like CIA Man. Burn After Reading.
Really, that's not original. That sounds like a song from decades ago.
Dusty Springfield's The Look of Love. Because what the hell that is doing in a spoof film called Casino Royale, I have no clue. At least, like, another song that I'd say was a contender, Windmills of Your Mind from Thomas Crown, fits. Look of Love doesn't, considering the whole rest of that film.
Original song. It's difficult. What do you could? I mean, you have to consider a song that is completely and utterly original. That's not something that was created for the movie. And
I think my choice is Over the Rainbow, but Gonna Fly Now is right there too.
Gonna Fly Now is great. I like that one a lot. Maybe maybe Jungle Love.
Interesting.
Jungle Love from PCU. I used to be able to do that dance, actually. I can't now, but I remember watching it constantly, and like, that's another movie that I guarantee we're going to talk about it on here at some point. See the bell nose. So there's lots of really good ones. Good songs that come to mind, like Disney songs come to mind. Animated music is always good. South Park, that's always a good one. I mean, I'd say stuff like Rent and things like that, but that's all like things from the actual Broadway show, so it's not like it counts. So
I also say shout out to a lot of the songs on the Django soundtrack too.
Oh yeah,
like the John Legend song and Gargoyle and stuff like that.
Mr. Lou from Pulp Fiction.
That's
not original.
I'll say that's from like the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many really good ones too. Oh, Music and Lyrics has really good ones, honestly. A lot of good stuff on that track. My God, I feel like an idiot right now. You know, there is the answer for me without question. The answer is Come What May. That is the answer. That is the 100% answer for me. And no, there's nothing but Come What May. Come on, Dr. Phillips. Bring Moulin Rouge in 2024. I'd really appreciate that. Spencer says most anticipated movies of this year. God, I gotta look into it because I have an answer.
For me, it's a toss-up between, if we're talking like sort of the mainstream blockbuster sort of stuff, and not like the stuff that I will only realise until we actually get to award season. Probably it's a toss-up between Thor: Love and Thunder and Spider-Verse Part 1.
I'm looking. AJ, you have an answer while I look?
The Black Phone, for sure.
Black Phone looks great. Ironically enough, it's coming out the same day as my answer.
Uh-oh.
Which is...
obviously Elvis.
I'm also curious what's up with Nope.
Yeah, Nope's a big deal. Nope might be something I have to focus on this year. Hint, hint, wink, wink, smile, smile, nudge, nudge. Just not here. So.
And I feel like this could go either way, but I'm really, really, really curious about Bullet Train.
Yeah.
I have this like real weird want to see a couple. Obviously, the big one for me is going to be Clerks 3, but it doesn't have an official release date yet. I'm looking at the list of all the movies that don't have release dates for 2022, and yeah, there's some good stuff in here. And of course, Scream next year. We've got more actually on this topic coming in a second, Josie. I saw your comment. We'll get to that in a minute. Cassie says, "Yay, that's cool." Spencer says, did Jennifer Connelly deserve her Oscar for A Beautiful Mind, or did someone else deserve it instead? And Josie's follow-up question, what's your favorite Ron Howard film?
Well, to start the first one, oh man, Connolly didn't have very much competition. Well, first off, I think one of the problems is that Connolly's pretty much leading, right?
Yeah, that's the issue. We've got some
But
category fraud.
I don't really. When I remember A Beautiful Mind, she doesn't really come to mind. I don't know if that's because she didn't leave much of an impression to me, or I don't know. It appears to have just been a weak ass year for the category. So I don't know. The only performance that I looked at that like really I remember is Tomei in the bedroom. But as far as like anybody that would have been a non-nominee, I'm not sure. But
Yeah, the issue with the other ones, I think, when you think of Iris, you really don't think of Kate Winslet that much.
Nope.
It's more Judi Dench's portrayal. And then, like, with the other two being Mirren and Smith for Gosford Park, because that shows you enough that they didn't know which was the actual more important supporting role that both made it in.
yeah,
That's another one of those. Well, it won. If SAG wasn't around, it won one of the ensemble things, didn't it? I think.
I, I would certainly think so.
As an ensemble, it works. It's just like singling out one role. It's difficult.
I'm looking into the. I'm pulling an Ashley right now. I'm actually looking to people that got snubbed in 2002. I'm trying to see if I can find another person we could have chosen instead.
So I've moved on to favorite Ron Howard movie. Or do you want to find your answer before we go there, or?
Well, Nicole Kidman's my answer, but I don't think I can use that as the answer.
You're talking about lead. Are you just saying Connolly's leading?
Yeah, I've seen the movie. Yeah, Connolly's definitely leading. It's Nicole Kidman is the right answer.
Oh, of course, yeah.
For me at least.
Not that Halle Berry wasn't fucking searing in Monsters Ball.
I loved her in Monsters.
But
that
I mean,
movie's great.
But I mean, yeah, like last time I was asked who my second favorite actress after Blunt is, and my answer is Kidman.
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge by itself is a big reason for that. Not the whole reason, but a big reason for that.
God, yes, of course. Ashley, AJ, do you have answers for favorite Ron Howard film?
I do. And it might seem a little weird.
Go ahead.
Because Backdraft is amazing.
Yes, it is.
I almost feel like an objective answer would be Apollo 13.
Yep, that's
like
a good one.
It almost seems like an absolute given, but anybody that knows me knows there is a movie here that Cinderella Man is amazing. I cannot express how much Cinderella Man is amazing.
So good.
But I have a personal favorite here. A movie I've seen so many times, and I still can't get enough of it. Is like, it might be like if I had to make a list of my favorite thrillers, this might very well be there. My favorite Ron Howard movie is Ransom.
That's fair. That's a good one too.
That movie's so fucking. As far as thrillers go, that is a movie that does everything right. and I stand by it forever. It's 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 unrelenting as far as tension goes, and the places it's willing to go. Even there's one particular scene that could be seen as like a big cop out, but still, it's like it still takes you there. It takes you to that place, even if you're not actually. It's hard to express, but and Gary Sinise in that, and already knowing, not just from having personally met him, but also all of his stuff, knowing that Gary Sinise is one of the most gracious people in the world. Seeing him play somebody as fucking evil as Jimmy Shaker is something I can't get enough of.
Very cool.
Gibson's performance in that is off the fucking charts. I love that movie so much.
Very nice.
Yes.
Ashley, favorite Ron Howard film?
I can't really single out one because I'd say it's pretty much his entire body of documentary work. Made in America was really good. The Beatles 8 Days a Week doing the early, the precursor as to what the definitive Beatles movie is, even though it's a 3-part special, thanks Disney. Then again, we got more material probably than we would have done originally with Let It Be from Peter Jackson. But the Pavarotti one was really good. Rebuilding Paradise from a couple of years back. Apparently he's also got another one that's just debuted at South by Southwest called We Feed People. But, hopefully it's good. And, although he didn't direct it, technically he was producer on Beyond the Mat.
He was, correct.
An extraordinary documentary.
That I can guarantee we will discuss on this channel at some point.
I have one more reason why Ransom's amazing.
Go ahead.
It's also, I'm talking about like how it really goes for it. I think the point I'm trying to make is it's so gritty and brutal, which is the complete opposite of pretty much every other Ron Howard movie. Like, one of the big criticisms Ron Howard often gets is his movies are too light. And that is not Ransom. Ransom is not light at all. So that in particular is very fascinating to me. Also, that he even made that is wild. and shout out to Rush, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one too. So I have a lot of options here. I love Rush. I love the Da Vinci Code. Honestly, I really do. I love the movie. I love the books. I love the video game. I just like the concept. Really enjoy the Da Vinci Code. I'm with AJ on Cinderella Man. Any boxing movie, I'm always going to jump on. I really am. It's one of those weird things I like about movies. Again, I get more into that very soon. The Grinch. Definitely the Grinch. Tad bit biased on that one. But yeah, I love How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And it's definitely one that's up there. Ed TV. I bring up the Berton Leon Reynolds Jr. line every single time around. And that's from Ed TV. So yes. But honestly, I think, yeah, I would probably say that my answer here, shout out to Splash. I remember watching it a lot when I was growing up, so that's another movie I really enjoyed. But yeah, I think I can pretty much definitively say that my answer here is also going to have to be Cinderella Man. There's so many great ones, but...
Also, I have an anecdote that really warmed my heart. And it even more so because it's also a Ron Howard movie.
Okay.
But you see the stuff that comes out today, and it makes you wonder, like, what are parents showing their children?
Yeah.
What kind of shit are kids these days watching? When I saw Solo, there was a kid and his dad behind me, and at the point in Solo where he takes his helmet off and it's Warwick Davis underneath, the kid behind me gasped and said, "It's Willow!" It's like, oh, good job, that kid's dad.
You mean like how I was raised on Andrew Dice Clay, Sam Kinison, George Carlin, Comic Relief? These are things I listened to when I was growing up on the record player. Like Eddie Murphy, Lenny Bruce. I was raised on comedians, and that's one thing I really enjoyed. So something my my family instilled in me right away was a love of stand-up comedy. So yeah, it all started with. Actually, it all started with Delirious, weirdly enough. Just crazy to think about, but yeah, it's true. And we move on to our next question. So Josie says there are 2 semi-autobiographical films coming out in 2022 under the Universal umbrella. You're welcome. Spielberg's The Fabelmans and James Gray's Armageddon Time. Armageddon Time will be distributed by Focus Features. Not a question, just a comment, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on The Whale with Brendan Fraser? Says Spencer.
What was that title?
The Whale. Is that the Moby Dick movie?
Because I actually have not seen that.
Yeah,
well,
it says upcoming. I guess it's.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah, Aronofsky's new project.
Okay, because I was thinking, like, that sounds a little familiar, but I have no recollection of it. That makes sense.
I feel like an idiot for bringing up Moby Dick. Yeah, it's a psychological drama. Take a shot. It's a psychological drama film where a 600-pound middle-aged man named Charlie trying to reconnect with his 17-year-old daughter. Charlie abandons his family for his gay lover who later dies, and then he binge eats out of pain and guilt.
That sounds wild.
That sounds... God, I'm watching this in the Cinemark.
The crazy thing is, I'm thinking about it, and it says this sounds like an Aronofsky film, and then I look, it isn't actually written by him. He's just directing. He's found a kindred soul that does just as crazy ideas as him.
Is it a writer we know, or is this
Samuel D. Hunter, who also wrote the play of the same name?
Take a shot. No. Nope.
So it's the playwright's own. It's the playwright's own play, but they haven't really done anything of note, really,
at all
that I recognise. They've won, like, Obie Awards and things like that. Nothing major.
It's also A24 too, AJ. Shock surprise.
That makes sense.
He's also a writer and producer on Baskets. Apparently. Or was. I don't... Is that still running?
Josie says Searchlight has an exciting slate for 2022. The Boshies of Inisherin, which is the Neil McDonough film. Poor Things, which is Lanthimos' new film. And Watiti's Next Goal Wins. I like this. It's keeping us up to date on what's getting ready to happen. Thank you, Josie.
I'm intrigued what's going on with Next Goal Wins, though. How that recasting is going to... Well, not... I don't know if it's recasting or, getting rid of Armie Hammer.
I'm telling you, if you just would have stayed sane, you've been a heck of a Bruce Wayne. Anyway, and I'll stick to that to this day. With the news of Bruce Willis's aphasia... what is your favorite Bruce Willis performance, not including the multi-Razzie nominated action movies he's been in recently? North.
Well, I have
I love that movie. I do not care.
Well, my answer is too obvious, so let me see if I can come up with another one.
North is not... Well, it's an obvious one if you know me, but that's about it. Let me see if I can find another one.
The problem is there's, like, too many obvious ones. Like, is it Die Hard or is it Pulp Fiction? Or is it Sixth Sense?
Well, you know what? Something that's always stood out to me, where he really blindsided me, was or after he kills that kid, is a really powerful scene, an emotion that I would not have expected from him in 2012, when it seemed like he was like it seems like anything post Cop Out, like it almost seems like Cop Out is kind of where it started, to where he was just phoning everything in, and to bring out his Looper performance in there and that was the same year as Moonrise Kingdom too, so he was really on his game in 2012.
Also, a lot. It's ironically enough, he's in the player as well, so it's a nice tie-in, Josie.
Yeah, for like 10 seconds, but it's everybody's in the player. But
Yeah, we'll see that very soon. Don't worry.
I genuinely love his voice work in the first Look Who's Talking.
Butthead America.
Oh, I know exactly what my favorite Bruce Willis performance is, apart from Butch Coolidge and John McClane.
Say it.
If it counts, Friends. That the one where he sings Love Machine in the mirror is hands down my favorite episode of that entire show. Every time I see that episode, it's as funny as the first time I saw it. And the fact that he won an Emmy for it fills my heart so much.
I mean, I'm gonna throw out some ideas here that I really enjoy. Sin City,
Yes.
Alpha Dog.
Yeah.
See, honestly, like we brought up Moonrise Kingdom a little bit ago and Looper a minute ago. Those are correct answers as well. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, he's the narrator in North. I love North. North is great. And if you've never seen North, you soon will, because I guarantee you it's coming up here eventually.
By the way, just shout out to him in general, because it's been really easy to clown on him for a while now.
Yes.
And that was the thing, was like how I watch all the bad Nicolas Cage movies, and they're really fun to talk about because of how bad they can get, but he's still amazing in them.
Sure.
And I was kind of avoiding the Willis stuff because there had been those rumors for a while something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, just shout out, especially not only for the output he's put out. I was watching Die with a Vengeance again recently, which is so good. And it's like, of all the things, like anything associated with the mind, disease wise, is just, I cannot think of anything more horrifying.
Certainly.
Like, that's just the worst thing to happen, I would think, and that is it just fucking sucks. Also, by the way, shout out to the whole 9 yards, which is absolutely amazing. Speaking of Friends.
Well, speaking of Die Hard, there's two of the absolute favorite. We're watching this on broadcast television or cable, and we have to censor the line. Now, obviously, there's two of them. One of them is from The Big Lebowski. Is this what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps? I love that. And the one that we've been using forever and a day, me, AJ, and Chris used to always say this all the time, and I have to throw it out here on the network. Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
I meant to tell you this and I forgot. Right now I'm obsessed with the Always Sunny podcast.
Of course, it sounds like it.
They had a whole discussion on this, and Charlie Day specifically mentioned the voice drop when he says Mr. Falcon, and the fact that they played it back too. One of the things Charlie pointed out I never noticed was when he says Mr. Falcon, he has an accent. Have you ever noticed the accent?
Oh wow, he does. One of those things you don't think about until you like retrospect it back in your head, and you're like, oh my god, he does have an accent. But yeah, the Lebowski "Find a Stranger in the Alps." I've used that line in like regular speak because it's just too good to not.
I still remember Ryan Phillippe and I Know What You Did Last Summer on USA saying to Freddie Prinze Jr., "Stuff you."
Still haven't given mine.
Ashley reminiscent as well.
I'd have to say either 12 Monkeys from his earlier sort of part, and then like for his latter time, because I've seen it too many times. the Kansas City Shuffle. You go left, they go right. I am too much of a fan of Lucky Number 11.
11's good. 11's a shout as well. I enjoyed it.
Because that was like the first time when I'd seen him really good in really more of a supporting role than a leading.
Yeah.
Probably one of the very few times, because of everything else, he was predominantly leading, bar what? I guess Motherless Brooklyn he would have been supporting. Obviously Pulp Fiction could be considered supporting because of how many people are in that.
Yeah, because usually when he's not the lead, more often than not, it's a cameo.
Yeah. Oceans.
But by the Loaded Weapon.
Yeah.
One of the best ever.
And then, of course, was it Lego Batman movie or Lego, the sequel Lego film? He was randomly Lego John McClane.
Weirdly enough, he's not. It's not listed in his filmography.
It's on Wikipedia.
Where? Can't find it.
Yeah,
there it is.
Lego Movie 2, the second part.
Yep. Oh, this was the time I wasn't really watching many movies because I was here, so that makes sense how I missed that one. Josie says, speaking of sleuth, did you ever see The Swarm with Michael Caine? It's about bee attacks. Josie bringing the emoticon of a bee in chat again.
Killer bees.
Love that. Josie.
Well, I watched it a few years ago because it had an Oscar nomination, which would have either been like visual effects or sound or something. And I don't really remember it leaving an impression.
You want to know what it was for? Costume design.
That's right. Yeah, because, like, what the fuck?
Fair.
When you look at, like, how crap that film is on either the Laserdisc version or the theatrical version, and then it's got him and Catherine Ross and Jose Ferrer and Lee Grant and Richard Woodmark and Richard Chamberlain and Olivia de Havilland and Henry Fonda.
And you're never gonna believe this. I don't remember the costumes in it. And then that's the only reason I watched the fucking thing.
Just because it worked for Poseidon Adventure, and it worked for Towering Inferno, and even to a lesser extent Earthquake, no.
There are way too many Universal references in this comment we're having right now. So Spencer chimes in with a follow-up question. Favorite Demi Moore performance?
Well, obviously she's very good in A Few Good Men. I remember her. I want to say she's really good in G.I. Jane, but the only moment I remember is "Suck My Dick" when she yells it at Viggo Mortensen.
Yep. I've got not really necessarily an obscure one, but I have one from a little bit earlier in her film career. My answer is One Crazy Summer.
Yeah.
I like that movie. I'm a big Bobcat Mark. So yes, you'll learn that as well about me if you haven't figured out already.
Ghost. I know people think Ghost is cheesy because of the, Ditto and all that, but it would still have to be up there, I think.
Only because I didn't realise it was her. Because it was back in the day when you didn't let on who did the voices. I am today years old when I found out that she was Esmeralda in Hunchback.
Yep.
I thought you were going to bring up Beavis and Butthead Do America.
That's always in there.
I mean, I sort of expected that, but I didn't expect it. I guess it's just because, like, really since like the mid-2000s, she hasn't done that many major sort of projects. I mean, the fact that I looked it up and it's like her next big film is the Nicolas Cage film that's coming out next month. I'm like, I mean, if this is her career resurgence and it coincides with Nicolas Cage, I'm all for it.
I mean, honestly, Striptease is a good one for me. Burt Reynolds all shiny looking like George Hamilton.
I was gonna say, you say it. This is weird, but if you've seen the movie, you'll understand. When you say striptease, the only thing I remember is fucking Burt Reynolds.
Congressman David Dilbeck.
How is he the most memorable character in that movie?
As Burton Leon Reynolds Jr. That's why.
that's why weirdly he comes the first to mind with Boogie Nights. Because it just feels like Bert's basically playing himself.
He's Jack Horner. Of course he comes to mind in Boogie Nights.
But like even more so than like Smokey and the Bandit and whatever. Because it just feels like, you know, him being a dirty old man fits better than him being like this suave, sophisticated. You know.
Heck, his voice work in Grand Theft Auto comes to mind too.
And then they killed him off in Liberty City Stories.
Tim Knight, another one of my best friends, said 1982. This has been so long, I do not know what that's about. So, Tim, if you're still here, please let us know.
Hang on.
Josie says, I like Sally Kellerman in Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, Back to School's fun. I like Dangerfield a lot. One of my favorite Dangerfield performances is another movie that I'm sure we've never talked about here on this channel. It's called Ladybugs.
Yep.
Like Ladybugs a lot. Cassie says, Serenity watch. Oh, yeah, speaking of that, I don't want to gloss over that fact. Estelle Harris passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I know is because Jason Alexander tweeted out, like, I just saw it on Twitter when I was, like, in, like, a break. I went to the bathroom and I just checked my Twitter account, and sure enough, there it is, Jason Alexander talking about Estelle. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, because
two of my favorite things growing up, Disney and Seinfeld in the same package.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the longest, like it's for as long as she was around, like it was those two things. Like when I saw Seinfeld later in life, and she immediately came on and started talking, just immediately. That's Mrs. Potato.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because obviously everybody knows how big of a mark for the Disney Channel I am. She had like this recurring role on Sweet Life, that she was another person named Muriel working at the actual, like, at the Tipton, and I enjoyed that greatly. Yeah, she's got a lot of things. Apparently, it is officially her final film role was Toy Story 4. She's done a lot of wonderful work over her extremely storied career. 93 years old. It's just, she lived a very full life, 100%. Didn't really do. It's really crazy to think she really didn't do much, but what she did was very impactful. She didn't have many projects in those years, but there were a lot of really, like, quintessential roles. Yeah, because I'm looking at here, it's like she did video games for like Toy Story and everything, so she did stuff there. So she did movies and television. So yeah, I definitely want to shout her out as well because everybody knows how big of a Seinfeld mark I am. So yeah, definitely bring that up because in a roundabout way, we're talking about that because Cassie just said the word Serenity. So I'm like, yep, that's what comes to mind. Serenity now. Serenity now! Serenity to watch a lot of the movies because I am a college student. Hey, Cassie, did not know this. And I have classes right now, so I'm just here for hanging out with everyone, but might get to watch some movies once in a while. Oh, sure. Feel free to chime in when we're doing the movie club when AJ's the player gets officially chosen whenever the show's over. Needless to say. Josie says, one of my favorite character actors working right now is Scoot McNairy. What kind of character would you like to see him in the future if he were to get a more substantial role? The better question, what director would you like to see him work with?
He'd be amazing. He's perfect for a Scorsese movie. But the thing about it is, he's got so many because he's kind of a chameleon.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that I forget that he's in. So I've got to struggle to remember who all he's already worked with. He might very well be in a Scorsese movie.
I'm looking at it right now.
Because they're shit. Argo, Killing Them Softly, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Come On, Come On, Quiet Place 2, Frank.
He worked with Gareth Edwards in Monsters.
Monsters, that's right.
He was in Batman vs Superman.
He worked with Gus Van Sant in Promised Land. Steve McQueen in Slave.
Yeah, forgot he was in 12 Years a Slave as well. Argo. He was in Monsters, so he's already worked with Gareth Edwards. Wow.
Was that
David Gordon, His Crisis.
Was Monsters maybe the first time we saw him, or at least took note of him?
Possibly, because before that I see In Search of a Midnight Kiss, Bobby.
Maybe, honestly, for me, it probably would have been Herbie Fully Loaded, or maybe Wonderland, like to a lesser extent. Because I remember renting Wonderland when it first came out at Hollywood. And maybe Debs, because those are ones that come to mind that I remember watching that movie the first time. Or Bobby is a definite shout as well, because everybody's in Bobby, so it's a fair assessment.
I do remember what's really funny. I won't say what they are for the sake of spoilers in case people seek these out, but he had 2 movies out at pretty much the exact same time where his character dies and his body gets set on fire. And I found that really funny.
Obviously, he worked with Mike Mills in Come On, Come On this year.
Yeah, he was Gabby Hoffman's husband.
Yep.
Because what's amazing about that is, like, pretty much every time he has a line in Come On, Come On, it's background noise over narration. And he was still able to put in a really convincing performance.
Yeah, so yeah, he's done a lot, honestly.
And that was his theme last year, because in A Quiet Place 2, he has no lines.
True.
So much non-verbal acting from him last year.
Josie brings up a fun fact. Scoot McNairy is dating Kevin Bacon's daughter, Darcy Bacon. She was the deceased son's daughter on Mare of Easttown. Tie into Wild Mountain Time. John Patrick Shanley wrote the screenplay to We're Back.
Really?
Yeah.
That's random as hell. Also, another fun fact. After reading the book for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I never put this together, but it makes perfect sense. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he is playing Bruce Dern.
Yeah.
Bruce Dern is playing Business Bob Gilbert.
Correct.
I love that. It's perfect.
It's funny, if you look at his filmography on Wikipedia, it actually is that slant, then it says both names. So I was like, yeah, it's very true. Eisenberg's directorial debut, When You Finish Saving the World, didn't get the best reviews out of Sundance.
I've seen videos of him reciting his poetry and doing scenes from the plays he's written.
Mm-hmm.
I really respect him, but I could imagine his personal work being divisive.
That's fair.
The one thing, speaking of the reviews, mainly because they can't be, supposedly last week they did a special preview of Babylon, Chazelle's new film.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know it was done.
Yeah, that's the thing that surprised me. It's like, this isn't coming out till Christmas. Yeah, apparently people have seen it. It's 3 hours long.
Jeez.
And supposedly there's a sex scene there that's on the verge of going crazy like Showgirls. But in like a really good way. Like there is a massive orgy apparently in it. Or something.
I don't know what it is with me in La La Land, because you would think how much I love Whiplash so
Oh
much.
god, this is amazing.
You would think that I would be absolutely psyched whenever Chazelle does a movie. But like, I keep forgetting First Man exists. First of all.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know, everything post La La Land, I just struggle to get excited about him. I don't know. And I'm sure partially it's envy. Like, I hate that he made something as amazing as Whiplash at the age that he did, and the fact that I'm practically that age now. Might be literally that age now, I don't remember for sure, but that's got to be part of it. I'll admit that. But I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't know. I just wish I could be excited about him. As excited as I still am about Whiplash when I watch it, but
I
I don't know.
feel another person that comes, and you'll correct me immediately if I'm wrong about this, but the person that comes to mind about someone's filmography that we both really enjoyed until just recently was Refn.
I only really took to Bronson and Drive
Same.
because I was looking over Refn's filmography relatively. I was talking my friend that does montages.
Yeah.
She did a Refn one, and I kind of got to revisit some of his stuff through that, and he's got a lot of stuff that's not as well known. Like, he's got stuff that's really, really buried. And I'm just like, I when she was making that, she was telling me she was in the process of making it. I watched Valhalla Rising for the first time, and I just like, apart from Bronson and Drive, I just don't think Refn's for me.
That's fair.
But I don't know if my lack of excitement for Babylon comes from the fact that Chazelle's already done the Hollywood thing. I mean, obviously, it sounds like this is quite different from La La Land, but still, it's like, it feels like we've been in that territory, and I hate saying this without really knowing anything about the movie, but it's like a movie about Hollywood coming out at Christmas by Damien Chazelle. All I can think is it's Oscar bait.
Well, yeah. So the details from World of Real blog. A test screening stunned moviegoers, with the word masterpiece being uttered a few times the morning after. Judging by some of the reactions, this is going to basically be his equivalent of Wolf of Wall Street.
Ooh, nice.
Or Fellini's Satyricon.
That
Apparently, apparently, it's his quote "go for broke" epic.
I'm all in. Sign me up, but that's just me.
Okay. There might be something here. I'm suddenly so much more interested than I was, just based on that alone. Okay, I'll keep my. I mean, I would like to think I'd keep my mind open anyway, but yeah, that's okay. I'm curious.
I'm more curious because it's Paramount Pictures, and knowing Paramount Pictures form, it's going to be put on Netflix or
No.
Apple or somewhere. It's going to get dumped somewhere because they'll lose faith.
Well, that's also promising because you would think oh, if it's too out there, the studio will make him cut stuff down. But Paramount also did The Wolf of Wall Street, and we got the movie that we did. So, I mean, if their minds are as open as they were for that, then
But yeah, Brad
this
Pitt,
could be
Margot
fun.
Robbie, Tobey Maguire, Catherine Waterston, Samara Weaving, Eric Roberts, Olivia Wilde, Spike Jones, Gene Smart.
Yeah, because the story that I heard was that both Pitt and DiCaprio read the script for Babylon while they were on the set of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and DiCaprio reading the script is how Tobey Maguire ended up in it.
And that's why Toby is exec producing as well.
All right. So Spencer has a hot take. I thought Matt Damon should have won Good Will Hunting's Best Actor in 1997 over Nicholson.
That's a really tough call because I love Nicholson so much and I love that performance so much, but yeah, Damon, especially for as young as Damon was at the time, that he really, really crushed that. I probably would have been happy either way.
Thought we had no. There's more.
Yeah, I'd say Nicholson was probably better out of the two in terms of looking at them and the other nominees for that year.
Yeah, 'cause somebody that's missing from that group that should be in there is Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have had like almost the whole Departed cast in there. Because Boogie Nights was that year and Titanic was that year. The only person missing is Martin Sheen or Alec Baldwin or Ray Winstone. Surely Ray Winstone was in something in '97. When was Nil by Mouth? Somewhere in there, wasn't it?
Probably.
Around that time. Nil by Mouth was 1997, yeah.
No,
There it is.
I just pulled that out of my ass.
It all makes sense.
So Brian has a final ranking for 2015's picture lineup.
This should be interesting.
I immediately disagree with a lot of these, but I'm sure you're not surprised. Number 8 is Spotlight. Yep. That's bad start, good sir.
My only question is where the fuck is Selma? Because because it is the...
It's not there.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
8 is Spotlight. 7 is The Revenant.
Wait. Selma's 2014, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why. Never mind. I just hated on Selma for no reason.
There's always a reason, AJ. Anyway, number 7, The Revenant. Nope, wrong. Number 6, The Big Short. Number 5, Bridge of Spies. Number 4, Room. 3, The Martian. 2, Brooklyn. 1, Fury Road.
I'm happy that The Martian is relatively high.
That's
So
fine.
that-
I'm happy Room is high, but I can see it being higher. Mad Max is way too high. The Revenant's way too low. Spotlight's way too low.
I forget how good that year was.
I like Brooklyn, but it needs to drop a little bit. But it's your opinion, though, Brian. We understand that 100%. Like, because AJ went on record saying he hates La La Land, and we keep talking about how much I love that movie, and we go back and forth constantly about it. So,
I gave La La Land a positive review.
yes, you did.
Mind you, that's right after we saw it, but still.
Yep. Josie says Eisenberg has the same birthday as Kate Winslet, Guy Pearce, Jacob Tremblay, and Karen Allen, as well as Bernie Mac. October 5th. Nice. Cassie says The Last Dance is a great documentary. Josie says, who's your favorite of the Carradines?
David's probably the most interesting. He has the most interesting career for sure.
Yeah.
Because he did all kinds of he did like Bound for Glory was a biopic, and then he'd do like really the Death Race and stuff like that. Stuff like Sundown, and then obviously the Tarantino stuff. Yeah, he's by far the most interesting, so I'd probably say him.
I concur. Ashley?
I mean, if we're talking about anybody in the family, John. You know, the body of work that he had. Not all of them were, like, probably good or whatever. But, you know, there's some highlights in there. You know, his, like, Mummy. He was in a few of the Universal ones, wasn't he? But like not the originals. Because House of Dracula, I think he was in, and maybe another one. And I'm pretty sure he's in one of the Mummy sequels as well.
That sounds right.
I'm looking at his career right now, actually. Oh boy.
I can't remember how many he was in, because it's like, you know, Lon Chaney was in God knows how many. You know?
Okay. And we are moving on. Josie said I did forget to include Near Dark on the list. What's your favorite of the Bigelow movies?
You know what's really good is not that this is my answer, but I really like Blue Steel. That's one of those movies that's just a really, really straightforward thriller, which is the kind of stuff that I eat up. Strange Days definitely deserves a shout out.
Point Break.
Yeah, Point Break. Point Break might be my answer, honestly.
I think Point Break is my answer for sure. So many things we've talked about on this network in verses too. So that's another thing that this show can be like a companion piece with some of the verses that AJ's done in the past.
I try to remember as many as I can off the top of my head before I actually like use Google. But those are the first ones
I
that come to
didn't
mind.
even realize she directed K-19 The Widowmaker.
Let's see.
I only know, yeah, sort of a more prolific early stuff like Near Dark and Point Break. And
Fair. Brian says, I've always had the idea of a bracket tournament of all the Best Picture nominees of the 2010s, but I only have 10 left to watch. I said, but I can't cause them on my break from the 2010 movies for my Oscar movie marathon, and I don't want to rewatch Boyhood. That's fair.
Boyhood actually gets better on rewatch. I think I may have said that in one of the last two videos, actually.
Brian asked if you remember Nosferatu's cameo in Graveyard Shift.
Of course, he's the one flipping off the lights.
That's the only reason to buy the video game The Darkness is, I can't remember which level, but like midway through you just get to this bit where you can go in somebody's room with a TV and you can just turn on and sit and watch the TV, and they have the entirety of the original Man with the Golden Arm that you can just watch in full. Is if you don't want to play the game, watch a film.
The Sinatra movie?
Yeah.
By the way, now that's been brought up, I have a question about Graveyard Shift that I want to throw out there.
Oh.
So, the guy pulls up on the bus, and SpongeBob says, "I didn't know the buses ran this late." And Squidward says, "They don't." And then everything's explained at the end, what everything was, why the phone was ringing, Nosferatu was turning the lights on and off. Nobody explains why the bus was running that late. And I want to know. I've always wanted to know. Did Squidward just have it wrong?
Way, way out of my comfort zone, my friends. I don't know, maybe instead of that, maybe we can ask the chorus of chat right now and see if they know the answer to the question. Yeah, Josie says, yeah, I agree with you on this one. The tranquilizer gun in Old School in the birthday party scene.
Completely forgot about that. That's a good one. I love when that scene starts, and it's in the foreground. It's Luke Wilson and Vince Vaughn talking, and in the background you see Will Ferrell just picking up the presents and throwing them.
Brian asked if any of you guys are familiar with the defunct PC CD-ROM company, Humongous Entertainment.
I love the way you say defunct when practically any time it's available, it's 90% off as part of the Steam sale. I guess because the company, went defunct, and whoever has got the license just is willing to get any money off of it. So that's when you get the Putt-Putts and the Freddy Fishes and the Spy Foxes and the
The last 45 seconds has been a complete foreign language to me.
I don't have a piece for this, so I just take a small bow.
That's why I do the gaming content every once in a while.
Well, the other thing I know about it is apparently their headquarters is Bothell, Washington. The only thing I know that for is the Brian and Vinny show.
Oh,
so needless to say.
I
know they can represent it.
I guess there were other games though that would have been out at the time that would have been sort of kid friendly. I mean, the fact that the company was created by Ron Gilbert, who went on to do the Monkey Island games and things like that.
That got announced this week that they're doing another Monkey Island game.
Oh.
I loved Escape from Monkey Island, and I'm very glad to see it's coming back. So I probably am going to have to partake when it does come out. PC game I definitely enjoyed. Josie says there's a horror movie called Bloody Birthday.
Yep. That's another... when we were asked about child performances, and I said that my favorite child performances were the evil, vindictive children. That's an evil children movie.
Oh, nice.
Only problem with it is that the main kid gets you want to just see his face punched the whole time, and there's as far as I remember, it was barely a comeuppance at all. There's no satisfying ending to that movie as far as I remember, and that was annoying because I think it's the kid that owns Cujo, and Cujo is the kid in it. And that I just remember the ending being really unsatisfying.
How that feels. Spencer says happy birthday to me. Spencer, I don't know if this is your birthday, but happy birthday. Josie says, don't like the current SNL cast. Don't find them funny at all. The only one I kind of like is Cicely Strong.
You don't like Kate McKinnon?
I'm a Kenan Thompson guy myself, and have been ever since all that.
I love what Jost and Che do with Weekend Update. But, yeah.
Oh, Josie, you've opened up a can of worms, and AJ knows that, too. So I'm curious what AJ is going to say, and I'm curious what Ashley's going to say. Favorite TV theme song?
Well, my first choice is a little tainted right now.
Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, good point.
That's a point. Is that getting cancelled off Peacock?
To be fair, it's been a really rough couple of years for you, man. Seriously. Because with somebody from the film world that you absolutely love, and now someone from the television world, which you absolutely love, both getting somewhat canceled in the span of like 10 years. That's not a good thing.
I swear to God, Emily Blunt better be innocent as fuck. Because I can't do this again.
Nice.
What have you done, Krasinski? What have you done?
I've done nothing.
You know, honestly, I really love Family Matters' theme song.
Yeah, that's a good one. Any of the TGIF soundtracks of the 90s were fantastic. I have so many answers to this, Josie. I have CDs, like CDs, like 3 CDs of nothing but TV theme songs. So I'm letting Ashley and Jay go first.
I mean, I won't beat around the bush, and I won't take it out of contention. Obviously, Fresh Prince is my favorite.
Sure.
But yeah, I've always really taken to the Family Matters song as well.
It's a good song. It's catchy too. And you knew when it ended, it was time to go to the bathroom because the commercial break was about to begin.
The 10 seconds. I mean, the whole song is like maybe a minute and a half, I think. But the 10 seconds we get of the Breaking Bad theme is it still gets me pumped up when I hear it.
Ashley.
I want to say my favourite theme evolution over the course of the series is Doctor Who, but I can't.
That's fair.
Because some of them don't really gel as much. So in terms of like the theme that's evolved over the series, I'd have to say The Wire. Because of each version being so much different from the rest. But that's obviously reflecting that the rest of it is different and all that.
Oh my God, when you watch season 1 and you get used to it, season 2's version is so
that was the
darling.
best bit because they showed it when they actually finally showed it on like mainstream television over here that wasn't like cable or satellite. They put it on like every night Monday to Thursday, which of course meant 1 went straight into 2, and then I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Let's get the music. What's that?
Oh.
I mean, it's the same song, but like, what's going on?
Oh, by the way, speaking of The Wire, speaking of HBO, yeah, totally overlooked one that's probably my real answer.
You woke
up this morning. Woke up this morning from The Sopranos. Gets me so fucking hyped. I love that. Just that intro in itself. Like, it's kind of the combination of the song and the imagery of it's literally just Tony going home. Somehow it's...
I'm guessing it features somewhere in Newark because I didn't manage to catch that one.
What was that?
I'm guessing it features somewhere as like a cameo bit in Many Saints of Newark. Or not.
Is it?
I don't know because I hadn't seen it.
I almost want to say it might have been the end credits song, but that could be a false memory.
Yeah.
I feel like it was, but I don't remember. It might very well have been the end credits song, but I really don't remember now. I'm almost positive it was, come to think of it. I could pull up HBO Max right now and find out. But we'd get taken down for copyright.
I'm just... there's quite a bit of like theme tune like creators. Like I think everything that what's his name that did the Bond stuff? Well, both Bond ones, John Barry and because John Barry's theme for The Persuaders is like iconic to me. And then who was it that did it? The Craig era before Newman. I'm having the mind fart on.
we talking about score or
Yeah.
what was Eric Serra did
No,
GoldenEye.
Craig's
That was
first
the
stuff.
only one. Oh,
Oh, David. He literally did like an album. David Arnold. His you know it's good when you have the entire set of the score from Sherlock because his incidental music is so good.
So, obviously, one of the best theme songs of all time, Seinfeld.
yes.
Great of all time. No one can tell me otherwise. Get Smart, The Dick Van Dyke Show, Green Acres, Mr. Ed, Double Dare. I love, like, honestly, I bring it up. It's Gary Shandling's show. It's just so, like, it's just a fun song. It's literally just like some guy just like, hey, just throw together the most random thing about Gary Shandling right now, and you got 10 minutes, and it tells that in the song. It makes me feel that it was written in like a short amount of time because that's how much they cared about putting it into it because that's what the show was about, and I love that. So many great TV theme songs throughout history. Like, I mean, I love the Brady Bunch. Big mark for the Brady Bunch. And there's so many, like, there's a lot of fantastic shows, like, that have, like, television series themes. Like, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's another really great one, too. Legends of the Hidden Temple. I mean, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Like, there's a lot of really great ones. I can talk about this topic, like, all day. Josie says, fun fact.
Another recent one that comes to mind is it Jeff Russo that does the theme for Fargo? Because it's definitely its own theme, but it also sounds so much like Burwell too. And I love the way he was able to sort of encapsulate that, but also make a new theme for it. That one's always stood out to me as well.
I'm also Batman Mark, obviously, too, so that's another thing that's always going to get a shout.
There's probably a lot of references in Linklater's new movie you would be happy about.
So Josie says, fun Tarantino fact, he's a big fan of music and lyrics. Such a very underrated movie. I enjoy it very much. Some great songs there. Don't Write Me Off is a really awesome song. Definitely recommend. He also likes Ghosts of Girlfriend's Past. Josie says favorite school dance scene in movies.
What was that?
Favorite school dance scene in movies.
That's one of the easiest questions we've ever gotten.
Go ahead.
It covers me in chills every single time. It's Back to the Future. The Earth Angel scene in Back to the Future is one of my favorite scenes ever.
I'm a Grease guy.
Nice.
Love High School Musical. Don't care. I will not apologize for it. I love High School Musical greatly, and I love those scenes.
I'd say for this...
We didn't know what we were getting with Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron back in those days, but now that we have them as full, fleshed out actors and actresses, it's just amazing to see how far we've come. You can bag on the Disney actors and actresses all you want, but there's some really solid performances in some of their work.
Just for the symbolism of it, and because, like, you don't expect it from a film in the 40s, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Where the dance floor just turns into a swimming pool, like, where did they do that?
Josie says, I'm excited for Sam Raimi's take on Doctor Strange, Thor, Love and Thunder, and Spider-Verse. And Nope. Any theories what it's about? I have one that I'm going to take from the Twitterverse that makes sense to me. And if you watch the trailer, which I know AJ hasn't had a chance to do, but I know he's heard it a time or two. Nope, to me, is an acronym. Not of or not on planet Earth. It's a Jordan Peele alien movie. And I'm all about that. I cannot wait to see what Jordan Peele does with extraterrestrial film.
Yeah, 'cause I just heard that trailer again this Friday because I look away from the trailers. But I always know it's starting because I hear Keke Palmer's voice, and it was on Morbius. So
That
I
makes
like, and I after like Keke Palmer talks, I have no idea what's happening.
Don't feel bad. No one does. That's the brilliance of Jordan Peele. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. And you don't know what might be coming your way until it happens. And the trailer is giving nothing away. That's what I love about it.
Yeah. The closest I can think of is because it's like an isolated, deserted town somewhere in California. It's some sort of Native American burial ground sort of thing. But it also is somehow related to sort of Area 51 style alien stuff.
Exactly. I feel every Jordan Peele movie is a message movie in one way, shape, or form, and I feel that this will be one too. But I do think it's going to have that alien aspect, and the nod of planet Earth, I think, is just kind of staring us right in the face without us realizing that's what it is. Josie, Brian says Babylon, Lightyear, and Del Toro's Pinocchio. That's the Tom Hanks' Geppetto, right?
I think so. Hang on. Because I think there's like a number. Yeah, because there's the live action Pinocchio and the animated Pinocchio that is coming out this year. No, so that's wow. David Bradley is going to be Geppetto in that one. That's the wholly animated one.
Yep.
With Ewan McGregor as Jiminy Cricket, Finn Wolfhard, Kate Blanchett, John Turturro, Ron Perlman. Of course, it's Ron Perlman.
Waltz is the fox. Tilda Swinton is the fairy. Yeah, I'm down with Lampwick. Shout out to Finn Wolfhard. He's playing a character that I actually portrayed in a play back in 1993. I was Lampwick in our version of Pinocchio. So yeah, that's a really cool shout. Awesome.
Yeah, the other one you're thinking of is, well, because it's Tom Hanks, you know it's Robert Zemeckis.
Of course. Ewan is Jiminy Cricket? Yes, please. Sign me up now. Let's do this.
Yeah, but you're going to be conflicted, considering the Disney Jiminy Cricket is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I mean, it's me either way. So
yeah, no.
It's going to be me regardless, so it's fine.
I'm still amazed, though, of course, that Pinocchio will not be in cinemas. They're going to shove it straight to Disney+.
Can we... I'm sorry. Can, like, for those of us that need to watch movies in a theater, can we get, like, tiny theatrical runs for, like, a week and a half of these movies so I can actually see them? I want to see Turning Red. I don't have time to waste on a streaming movie.
What if that turns out to be the only good Disney film that comes out in 2022?
It might be. You never know. Todd Field, the director of In the Bedroom and Little Children, has a new movie coming out this year with Kate Blanchett called Tar. Josie brings up also the early test screenings of Babylon, saying Chazelle has outdone himself. And she also mentioned loving Jennifer Connelly in The Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Another underrated movie.
The Rocketeer is great.
Fun video game, too.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, when I did a video on it with it and Sky Captain recently, that was my first time seeing it. The Rocketeer.
Wow.
That's like kind of a Monster Squad thing where it's like I totally should have grown up with this, but I didn't. Also, shout out to bringing up Todd Field. It's about time he had another movie finally, because his two are unbelievable. So that's something I'm extremely excited about.
So it's funny that's brought up there. So let's see. Brian says Mark Foster has 2 movies coming out: White Bird, A Wonder Story, a companion piece to Wonder, and an American adaptation of A Man Called Ove.
Is that Mark Forster?
Yeah, it is. I'm going with what the chat says. Sorry, Brian. A Man Called Otto is the remake with Tom Hanks.
I don't care. It's a remake. It's probably apart from Coda, it's probably not going to be good.
Josie mentioned she's married to Paul Bettany, also in A Beautiful Mind, says Connolly. Cassie says, I can see Jordan Peele coming back to Halloween Horror Nights. And my most anticipated movie is Downton Abbey, a new chapter. I didn't see the original Downton Abbey. I don't watch the TV series. So when I see that trailer, I just kind of tune it out because it doesn't interest me. Not to mean it's not going to be good. It's not something that interests me, but I know it's going to be a popular movie. You can tell by the kibitzing I hear every single time that I watch a movie.
It's. I love the fact in that they. I'm pretty sure they give away the idea that Dominic West is actually a gay, 1930s actor, because of him being with the butler who's known for being gay. So it's is that supposed to be the secret that you're trying to hide? If so, why did you put a scene that clearly looks like something intimate possibly between them? Because I know.
I will leave it. Cassie, I'll leave you with this. North, south, east. No. You never know what Jordan Peele's direction might be this year. Take that with a grain of salt. You never know. Brian says that one documentary I'm anticipating, if it does come out this year, is called An Unlikely Fandom.
North, south, east. He's going to be doing a new video for Pet Shop Boys Go West. What's
anyway? Unlikely Fandom.
I'm trying to look that one up.
Yeah, I don't see it on Wiki yet, so that's a good sign. Yep, don't have any information on that yet.
Oh,
Brian, please elaborate.
It's an upcoming fan documentary that will feature an intimate look at the adult fandom of Thomas and Friends.
What the hell?
Ringo just doesn't want to be pestered about these motherfucking phone calls. I don't give a shit about Thomas anymore. I'm all about peace and love.
Ringo, no!
Shut up, Ringo.
Oh, my dad. I saw Cinderella Man back in 9th grade, says Brian. We were doing the Great Depression during history class. I got to watch Schindler's List in history class, Brian. And Forrest Gump in English class.
See, I saw not that I saw. Obviously, I'd seen it a billion times by then, but Forrest Gump in history class. But it wasn't even for history class. It was one of those. It was one of the last days of school, and they didn't give a shit anymore.
Yep, I love those days. Those were fun.
So, because we had to choose between Forrest Gump and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and I thought it was really weird that he chose 2 movies that feature the Klan. And I was like, I don't know if that was...
Oh, was trying to tell you something, AJ. Dear God. You went to the other school. You didn't go to South like I did, so there you go.
The only one that I remember for history class, because it was Russian Revolution stuff, and also because it was close to the end of term, so they wanted an excuse to do both. They put on Nicholas and Alexandria, which is why Reza Fans does that performance of Rasputin. Thanks, Tom Baker.
I can't. I haven't seen either movie, but Hereditary or Midsummer?
Hereditary.
I'd have to
that.
say I'd have to say
Midsummer.
Hereditary as well, because as soon as I saw all the stuff for Midsummer, I was like, this is just another variation of Wicker Man, isn't it? Hereditary was going places. Well, I didn't have any sort of gist as to where it was going. That was the positive thing. Whereas
Yeah, I mean,
everything
'cause you
with
could
Midsummer
say,
was like,
yeah, because you could say Hereditary is this generation's The Exorcist, but it's still completely its own thing.
yeah.
But Midsummer is very, very, very Wicker Man, and Midsummer is also about a half an hour too long.
All right, that's fair.
I'm so pleased that for £2 sometime last year, because they were discontinuing selling DVDs, I got the DVD Director's Cut edition. That's even longer.
I don't want to put the wrong idea out there. I love Midsummer.
Yeah, I
It's
get what
it's
you mean though. It sort of it should be 2 hours rather than the 2.5 it is.
it's very long. The dancing scene is probably too long, and the lingering shots of the smashing the old people is too much. It's Midsummer's a lot more indulgent than Hereditary was.
All right. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Josie. I like this one. And Adrian knows my answer. It's right. It's coming to Popcast Movie Club too. Favorite Brendan Fraser performance? I like Blast from the Past. Yeah, you do. You have amazing taste, Josie. I always said that about you. I also like George of the Jungle. Chaz Darby in Airheads, obviously.
I say
Every
I
day.
hate, it feels so blatantly obvious and boring to go with the serious role. But I gotta throw out Gods and Monsters and
School Ties.
oh, that's the second time you brought up School Ties, and it's like, oh, I should have said that. He was. I loved how intimidating he was in No Sudden Move. That was really surprising. But the first one that comes to mind is Gods and Monsters. I'm a sucker for Encino Man, if you want to go with comedy.
Oh my God, Linkovich Chamovsky. Oh God, yes, he's my second choice.
To stick away from the Mummy films, because they obviously stand out as being his most prolific, I think he did a pretty good job in Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah.
It's a shame because of conflicts and everything. He wasn't able to do Journey 2.
Yes,
and then also his supporting role in Quite American with Michael Caine and all that was a pretty good role.
We speaking of Michael Caine, we'll get to that in a minute. Actually, another one I want to throw out as the second time on this network that I brought up the Scout. He's Steve Nebraska. That's 3 roles I've absolutely loved to Brendan Fraser that most people don't even think of. He's Dudley Do-Right too, which is a guilty pleasure as well. Not great, but he's fun in it. So yeah,
it has nothing to do with him being good or bad or anything like that. But I remember really pretty significantly preferring Journey 2. It's just a lot more fun than the first one is for me.
Yeah, but I don't think Journey to the Center of the Earth was ever written as a fun thing by Jules Verne. So I think in that respect, it's more akin to like what Verne wanted. He just wanted it to be this sci-fi adventure thing rather than have fun.
Brian says, "I'm sorry to do this, but who's your friend who likes to play?"
Oh, fuck off.
I have a response to you. That's my response to you.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's the saddest thing ever. Bing Bong just fading away was the best thing that could have happened to him and audiences around the world. Just fuck it.
It's literal to tie into the actor. Goodbye.
Yes.
Come on, AJ. That was the easy answer right there. I just lobbed it right to you there. Speaking of that, Spencer says best movie twists: The Prestige.
Yeah.
Crying Game is an obvious one. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the less obvious ones. Because obviously, like, The Sixth Sense and Usual Suspects and stuff like that's going to come out. Fight Club.
Ace Ventura.
Yep.
He found Captain Winky.
Oh, man, there's got to be... Saw would be up there.
Oh, it's a fantastic one. When Kramer gets up, oh my god, I remember watching it in the packed theater, and that place was just like you hear a pin drop. Oh, I was like, oh my god, Saw just to this day is just such a phenomenal movie.
Is there anybody that goes into The Empire Strikes Back blind anymore?
I highly doubt it. Ooh, I like.
I can't say. What my well, I can't say the one that I want to say for reasons. Even though it's last in the poll.
Yeah.
But honestly, Parasite. The way that went, where it's like, oh wait, there's already intruders in the house, if you will.
I'm looking at my shelf. My Eye Just Caught the Skin I Live In. That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
But I think I have an answer, and it's an obvious one, but it's too good for me to not just go ahead and say. I will pick the original Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Rod Serling was like the twist master.
Well, yeah, he's Rod Serling. Mr. Twilight Zone, of course he is the twist master.
The problem is it's not sort of it's not sort of like a proper sort of like shock twist. But I do like the twist of The World Is Not Enough, where they actually had the decision to actually make arguably the lead villain be female.
Yeah.
Because it's her plan. He's just, Renard's just hanging along for the ride. Because he's got that G.I. Jane haircut.
Yeah, because before... Was there a main female villain between Elektra and Rosa Klebb? That's a huge gap. Because you could say Irma Bunt, but you would still say that Blofeld is the main villain of Honor Master.
Yeah, but Irma Bunt is probably the only other times when you did have a female villain sort of major role. Because I wouldn't say Bambi and Thumper in Diamonds Are Forever were significant. And they never did it, I think, because they thought Roger Moore would never hit a woman. So he couldn't get away with it there. And he didn't get it with Dalton either, so... Yeah, probably... Well, of course, on the top. But that wasn't a twist. She was just on the top. So yeah, that's the only real female lead villain when you think about it. They haven't done it since. I guess because, it doesn't make sense for a man to be beating up a woman.
Oh, I guess once again, it's an obvious one. Miss if we didn't at least throw a shout out to Psycho.
Oh yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. See, we waited long enough, so Owen had to get up from his chair.
Oh,
it's as he predicted. Oh, so this is where Josephine brings up favorite Michael Caine performance.
Yes, that is correct. That's the next question. Sorry, my curtain gimmick fell down. I'm sure you probably noticed that on camera.
All right.
I really, really love the original Alfie.
Alfie's good. Looking at my list.
I loved him in Mona Lisa. Like the villainous gangster supporting role is like really coveted to me, and it's like almost anybody that takes that role is going to completely crush it.
Oh crap! Stay.
Practically anything where he's Harry Palmer.
That's
and
fair.
I know that counts the 2 TV movies as well, but they only survive because of him, not Jason Connery or Michael Gambon. It's just the power of him. But I'd also say outside of them, Italian Job's too cliche. He's very good in the original Gambit, which makes you wonder why the one with Cameron Diaz and Colin Firth was even made. And then also, Without a Clue, where he plays the dunderhead Sherlock to the actual witty Ben Kingsley's, crime-solving Watson. That's a nice little thing, because you don't see him do comedies that much, to be fair.
Especially when he is a comedic role in a deathly serious movie, because I would love to give a shout out to his performance in Children of Men.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what movie I mean, it's a movie I really love is Educating Rita. I know it's like it's one of those movies where it's like it's not necessarily an obvious choice, but it's like I don't feel inspired saying it, but but I do. I really love that movie, despite how almost cliche it might be.
Also, Kingsman, just because he says "you fucking cunt."
Like it's I that's what I was saying about Mona Lisa. I love when he plays bad guys.
The only reason I remember the film Wanted is because it's just when Morgan Freeman randomly says, "Shoot this motherfucker."
That's one of my favorite ones, actually.
That's the only thing I remember from that film. Nothing else.
The main reason, the main reason I love Wanted as much as I do is everything after Freeman goes full heel.
Anything that he's done with Nolan, honestly. I obviously throw a shout out to. I know you don't like the movie, AJ, but he's fantastic in it. Now you see me. Anything that Caine does with magic works for me.
I prefer his 5 seconds in Tenet to the.
You prefer his uncredited voice in Donkey Kirk.
I prefer him in Romeo and Juliet to the.
I like that movie, actually. Josie, this is an interesting question asking. So, which disaster movie would you like to have a ride based off of? Armageddon, Towering Inferno, or Poseidon Adventure? Well, Armageddon already had one.
Towering Inferno would be dangerous.
So was Backdraft.
Yeah.
So I definitely would go with that.
I'd be more inclined to go with water than fire, so I'd probably say the Poseidon Adventure.
Well, Armageddon already exists. Towering Inferno would be interesting. Poseidon would be interesting.
Towering Inferno, I could see sort of Tower of Terror style. But obviously it wouldn't be actual practical effects. It'd be like, screens around you, but the graphics would be that probably good you wouldn't notice.
Sure.
That sort of thing.
Okay. Spencer asked.
I don't want to sound like the no fun old man or anything. I feel like Armageddon's would just be loud. and that's not fun. That's just how I remember that movie, basically.
That's fair. It's a special effects show at Disneyland Paris, so I mean, it's already closed, so don't worry. It closed about 3 years ago. And yes, it was very loud and very much fire.
The one that I go to because of all the different things that you'd have to try and do is Day After Tomorrow. All the different climate things. Let's get them wet. Now let's get them cold. Now let's get them windy. Now
Mother
bring
Nature,
in the lava.
Spencer asked movies that people need to give another chance.
Well, one of my first would have been The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it sounds like that's happening.
Welcome, everyone.
I'm trying to figure out the criteria for this exactly.
I feel because it gets overshadowed by the TV series, sticking with the Parasite theme, people need to see the original Snowpiercer. Because I think that does, so far, what, to some extent, the first couple of seasons have done, but more succinctly, and not overly drawn out, because obviously, so Snowpiercer did in 2 what so far the TV series hasn't done in 16 or something, 16 hours.
Get smart. I waited my whole life for that movie to happen, and too many people slept on it. And honestly, weirdly enough, I don't know how many people like it now, but I've always been a very big fan of the Beverly Hillbillies. That's a fun movie.
Having noticed Josephine's next comment about Wes Anderson should have a theme park exhibit, going on the Anderson theme, both Bottle Rocket and Hard 8, because I think they get overshadowed by everything that came after it, whereas I think they're really strong debuts.
We literally have a Grand Budapest Hotel. Literally, it would be incredible. Fantastic Mr. Fox would be a tremendous dark ride, Josie. And Isle of Dogs would be a fun. I'd say Isle of Dogs would be a pretty good screen-based attraction, kind of like Secret Life of Pets. Yes, toys would be adorable. Yes. Again, thank you for the fox and dog emojis. Love those every time. What character do you want to be in Dazed and Confused? Says Brian.
Who's the one that goes through the least shit?
I haven't seen it in so long. I'm not in this conversation, I don't think.
Because the first one that comes to mind is Roy Cochran. Because I feel like he's one of the only ones that didn't have anything happen to him. Have you noticed that Anthony Rapp always has the jump on who's a creep.
Yes.
Because Anthony Rapp was the one that outed Spacey.
Yep.
To effect, and then when we first meet Wooderson in Dazed and Confused, and everybody's talking about how cool he is, it's only Anthony Rapp that says no, he's creepy.
Maybe Anthony Rapp's my answer. I haven't seen it in so long, it's difficult to say. Brian says I'd be Mitch Kramer to make out with the Julie chick. That's a fair assessment. Brian says, was I the only one surprised Judi Dench attended this year's Oscars?
And that's what I was saying. Her and Hawkins being there is crazy. Making what happened all the more embarrassing. Because to think that happened in front of both of them would be, I would never be able to live with that.
Yeah. Josie says, correction, I meant Sosie Bacon, the deceased son's girlfriend on Mayor of Easttown. That's who Scoot McNairy is dating. Another fun fact, Scoot McNairy had a landscaping business when he was a young teenager. Where are we? Take a shot. God, there's so many. I had more and I lost. Oh my God. Okay, where are we? I can see Chanel's first film, Guy and Madeline, on a park bench be on the Criterion Collection, says Brian. Between Babylon, the next David O. Russell film, the Inarritu film, and Next Goal Wins, which do you think will be the most likely award season villain?
What does that mean exactly?
I'm not sure what that means exactly, Josie.
I mean, I don't want to say the Feynmans, but it's like we should only have one good Spielberg film every couple of years, not one after the other. I'd like to see a gap between the two of them.
When you say the words award season villain, I think stuff that seems like a boring choice that sweeps and it makes us hate it when it's not bad.
Immediate one to come to mind right now is Nomadland in 1917, for me.
Oh, did the Power of the Dog take such a beating it's not even eligible anymore?
Bingo! Josie says, I guess we're having a Toby Sons, like a renaissance, with Toby Maguire. I like to think of The Departed as a movie about two guys competing for the same girl in Vera Farmiga.
I mean, partially it is.
Yeah.
They just don't. Well, one of them doesn't know there's a competition.
They never do. I would say that for that year, 2015, Brian says Miller for director, no. Damon for actor, Ronan for actress, Jennifer Jason Leigh for supporting actress. Compton, yeah, take a shot. Straight Outta Compton for original, Martian for adapted, Shaun the Sheep for animated.
Yeah. It's better than Inside Out.
I like Inside Out, thank you. And I like its ride at Disneyland as well.
I'm trying to look up that year and see what else was in there. Because I'm determined there was something.
Brian says, speaking of Shaun the Sheep, I've seen all the animated nominees last year. I think How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda 2, Wreck-It Ralph, Despicable Me 2, and How to Train Your Dragon 2. Bye, Cassie. Says, I'll watch this later. Josie says, how about a dune ride?
Oh, wow.
I mean, we have a Star Wars hotel now, so anything's possible, so... or a Stargate ride. Same thing. Honestly, Josie, that kind of reminds me of something that you would see on the Strip in Las Vegas, like the MGM Grand or something like that. Like that, when you would see like a very like random thing. It's not really a connection to a theme park, but maybe like an amusement park. I could see that. Josie says, "I love the poor continuity in SpongeBob. It doesn't have to explain itself."
This is the part where we start to realize how behind we are based on what the comments are.
Yeah. I think we're gonna cut. I think we may have to cut the comments for the night, and then we'll just roll through what we've got, and then take it home, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks with. Yep, that's about what I thought was gonna happen. So.
Yeah, because I don't want to seem in a hurry or anything, but because I've been not sleeping much and living off of coffee, this eye is twitching like crazy. Like I feel like I'm like inside a cloud.
All right, Brian says, "Not even the walls will ooze green slime." I forgot Mark Rylance did deserve the win for Will It Help. Tim chimes in. Sanford and Son has a great theme song. Yeah, it does. I remember watching that like right before Clash of Champions on TBS. 2016, I agree with Chazelle, Stone, Davis, Zootopia, and Made in America. But Shannon for Nocturnal Animals, 20th Century Women for Original, Arrival for Adapted, Man Cordove for International, and La La Land for Picture. An actor, if I had a personal lineup for 2016, my actor win would be a tie between Affleck and Denzel, because they give two of the best performances of that year. I will forevermore hate Casey Affleck because of that year. I like Manchester by the Sea.
I just realized that we got so caught up in the Will Smith thing, I didn't even think about it. We didn't get our fuck Casey Affleck party this year.
No, sad part. Josie, welcome back, Cassie. I don't know if you're still back, but it said you left earlier, so I'm just going with the chat. So Josie says, Austin Butler used to date Vanessa Hudgens. He's going to play Fade Ralpha in Dune Part 2. I'm nervous, but I trust Denny and good performance out of his actors.
Whoa, is that confirmed?
It sounds like it. I think I've heard it a couple of times in chat.
I had not heard that until just now.
Dune.
We brought it up in chat like weeks ago, AJ, honestly. I remember that vaguely.
No, we were talking about Barry Keoghan at the time. And yeah, he was with Vanessa Hudgens for like 9 years or something, wasn't he?
Yep. His performances, Tex and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, keeps me have faith he'll do a good job. Yes, 100% agree.
It's just negotiations from what I can see.
Okay.
That would be interesting.
Because I think we mentioned last time how Florence Pugh's apparently in negotiations to be Princess Aruia as well.
That makes sense.
And there is a casting call for Aurelian's father, Emperor Shaddam IV, as well. I'm looking at you, Michael Caine.
That's been the big question: is who the hell the Emperor is going to be? And I could see, like, I'm having to stop to make sure this hasn't happened yet. I could so easily see Florence Pugh in a Villeneuve movie.
For 2017, I agree with The Shape of Water for picture, Del Toro, Rockwell, Allison Janney, Coco for animated. Actress would be a tie with Hawkins and McDormand. Big Sick for original, Molly's Game for adapted, Strong Island for documentary, and Square for international. Josie says, speaking of the fairy, love the emoticon every single time. In Pinocchio, the Blue Fairy, real boy storyline and artificial intelligence had me bawling when I watched it 5.5 years ago. Oh, Daniel Kaluuya should have won for Get Out, says Brian. Favorite screenplay ever written?
I hate how much mine sound like go-tos. Like it's always like whenever the answer is obviously Pulp Fiction, I try to find the next one down.
Right, of course.
My immediate thought, I know it seems obvious, but I feel like it would be a Scorsese movie, whatever it is.
Sure.
But this, but you also got to go way back because like Preston Sturges is back there, and um, oh, this whole living off of coffee thing is not doing me any favors right now.
We're going home soon. Don't worry, sir.
No, because yeah, like I'm assuming it's for me, Pulp Fiction's the obvious answer.
Sure.
Um, but oh my God. Mm. Fargo would have to be in there. I know Barton Fink is my favorite Coen Brothers movie. But my love for crime movies
Sure.
makes me jump to Fargo thinking about this. Mm. And the other question would be if you split it up, like if do you have a favorite original and a favorite adapted, which makes it hard.
I'd say we just won.
I mean, yeah, I could say Pulp Fiction and move on, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be boring or anything, but that's that's where I'm landing.
My
Uh,
answer
what-
is
What's
go
that?
ahead. My answer is definitely Clerks.
Yeah,
Of course.
like I said, the independent contractor scene alone is one of my favorite dialogues ever.
Oh my God, so good. And I mean, I wasn't a huge like when I first saw the movie, I wasn't a big Star Wars fan at all. But it's weird watching Kev's movies like turn me into more of an appreciation of Star Wars as an entity because I had to watch these things to get the references. It was like a double meaning, basically. Actually, answer.
Answer what?
Question.
Oh, the screenplay.
Yes.
Ooh. I'm trying to think. Probably.
Snap judgment.
Probably one of those like 70s. I mean, All the President's Men.
Okay.
I'd probably say. I don't want to
Almost
go for
famous
sort
one.
of the obvious sort of stuff. I mean, there's some scripts that are very well done for their time that I feel are a bit ahead of their time. And I feel All the President's Men does feel, you know, if it was done nowadays, it'd probably get more attention and more acclaim. I mean, that's probably why Spotlight won.
I kind of also want to throw Taxi Driver into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Almost Famous. Moulin Rouge. Scream. Mallrats. Dogma.
Dogma's a good one because Dogma blows my mind by how unique it is.
Oh God, yes. Let's see. Josie says, when my brother and I saw Midsummer, we saw a car hit straight into a bus. Dear God. And I love the tiny little emoticons of the car and the bus that are in the picture, too. All right, I think we are taking almost.
Yeah, we ain't got too many left, so.
Best alcoholic movie performance.
I mean, one comes to mind, but that's a biased answer. So I'll because there's a lot of obvious ones here too, like Lemon and Days of Wine and Roses and Ray Milland and The Lost Weekend and stuff like that. But I can't type the word alcoholic for shit apparently. Oh man. It's new, but one of the first things that popped up was The Lighthouse, and that's almost a perfect answer already.
Yeah.
Trying to find some good answers.
Yeah, Cage is a little too obvious.
Can I go with Favreau and PCU?
I would accept that.
Gutter? Oh my god, yes. Where's Gutter? No, he's in a parking lot somewhere picking his nose. And next thing you know, I see Favreau just digging for gold.
Newman in The Verdict, Nicholson in The Shining.
Martha McIsaac in Superbad. Like I said, you guys throw the really prestige ones. And I'm like, here's some comedy ones I'll throw out right now.
Honestly, for the last few years, Destroyer.
Yeah.
Because, you know, she does a heck of a lot of drink and drugs.
Of course, Rick Dalton is here.
Rick Dalton is definitely going to be there. Thoughts on the absence of malice, says Spencer.
That's another one where my memory is so vague. There's a lot of Newman movies I want to revisit. I've been meaning to revisit The Hustler for a long time.
Oh yeah.
When I did a versus with 12 Angry Men and The Verdict, that was a rewatch of The Verdict that was years in the making.
Brian says, I got the Blu-ray of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 this past weekend. Excellent. A tweet that Amy Schumer wasn't allowed to make a joke about Don't Look Up in the Alec Baldwin accident. I saw a quote retweet and said, imagine being worse than James Corden.
No comment.
If you could time travel like Gil at Midnight in Paris, which deceased celebrity would you like to meet? The easy answer for me is Walt Disney. Because when I met Penn Jillette and I lived the biggest check off on my bucket list of all time, I said there's 3 people that I've looked up to growing up. Walt Disney, Dave Letterman, and yourself. And he was very happy to be included in that group. We'll get there.
Honestly, probably Roger Moore. Because I've heard from so many people that have got the chance to meet him what a really nice individual he was, you know. It's not like one of these, he was nice on the camera and then off the camera he was a right bastard sort of thing.
Hoffman, Phil Hartman, Chris Farley. There's so many I could come up with right now, like off the top of my head. I want to meet Carlin properly. I saw him live, but I didn't get a chance to meet him.
Anybody that's deceased? Yeah, because we're doing Midnight Paris. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not that I go into like conspiracy theories or anything, but just because it just is this age-old question where you feel like it's just not possible. I would go back to Shakespeare and ask, "Did you really write all that shit by yourself?" I don't know if you give me a straight answer or not, or one I'd even understand because of language, what it was then and what it is now. But yeah, just I'd at least want to ask him, like, was that you completely?
I'd say the more intriguing thing would be considering the most likely candidate if you actually shadowed Christopher Marlowe and it's like, wait, that's as you like it. What the shit's going on?
Josie asked AJ if you would consider The Crying Game one of your favorite screenplays.
That came to mind. Yeah, I probably would.
Spencer asked a question, which AJ I know the answer to, but you get to break the news here on the channel right now. Is Versus coming back to the network? I love watching those videos.
Oh, you're the one. I've got a few in mind. I want to do. I don't know why it took me so long. I finally got a copy of The Purple Rose of Cairo, and I've always wanted to do it with Pleasantville.
Nice.
So that will probably be the next one, whenever that is. And we've got a few that we've talked about. I just thought of another one the other day, and I've already forgotten it. But maybe once I've slept a little bit, I'll remember it. But yeah, eventually. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why Versus is so intimidating to me. But like being trapped in that corner is like, and it's like with these movies that I know. Like it's not like we're talking about new movies. It's like these are movies that I'm well familiar with, but for some reason I get like Versus are the videos I'm most nervous to do, and I don't know why that is. Unless I'm worried about doing them justice or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
There's a couple I know that we've talked about that will not see the light of day because of some issues. So yeah.
I might also need more sleep to figure out what you're talking about. But I'm sure it'll come to me.
Which of the three Moulin Rouge movies is your favorite?
Lermans.
I'm impartial to Lermans, 100%.
I'd have to say Lerman's just because of how much of a spectacle it is.
What is the? There's Lermans and there's Houston's. What's the third one again?
Do the week.
Houston did the one with Ferrer, right?
There's 52-28. It's a silent movie with DuPont.
Oh, that makes sense.
There was a 1934 one as well.
Lord. Yeah, I've only seen Lerman's and Houston's, and I would say Lerman's. Because a lot of people don't like. First of all, apart from Kidman, my favorite thing by far of Lerman's is Broadbent. Like, I still tell myself that Broadbent's win for Iris is more so a win for Moulin Rouge.
1,000,000%.
Wow.
And a lot of people think it's way too. The opening scene when they first go to the Moulin Rouge, a lot of people think that's like way too hectic and way too like. It's one of my favorite. I feel like I say this quite a bit, but we're talking about a lot of fucking movies, so it's still accurate. One of my favorite scenes ever, I think. Everything from that whole section when they first get the Green Ferry to, well, God no, even back with that, like when Toulouse-Lautrec is first introduced, all the way to when the whole Moulin Rouge scene is over after Satine's introduction. That whole sequence is just fucking magic to me.
I remember this movie was a part of the 15 Timers Club, and there's not many movies in my whole life I can say that about. And not only was it part of the 15 Timers Club, I remember via means that I will not go into, watching that movie literally all day long a few days. I would leave the theater and then go right back to it. And I would be there for every showing all day. And it was phenomenal.
And then the whole climax, the whole show,
God, it still gets me to this day.
and it's like everything, pretty much everything from the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend number to when they tell the dude to go fuck himself and go into Children of the Revolution.
Yes.
There's so many things I love in that movie so much.
Josie, you get the last question. Extremely appropriate. If you were to be a fly on the wall for a movie set, past or currently in production, get an inside scoop on which one would it be?
First, I feel like there's so many. The first thing that comes to mind is Fury Road, because half of it is the feuding that was going on, and the other half is how the hell they did a lot of that.
Ashley might concur with mine, but I don't think it's his answer. But I really like to be on the set of The Wrestler because I want to go through the entire process, how Nick Cage turned into Mickey Rourke, because Nick Cage was originally attached to the movie, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see exactly what happened to cause the change and to progress all the way to the end to Rourke's Oscar nomination and unjust loss. So Clerks 3 is my answer right now.
You know what else I'll say is apparently no matter what he was working on, Robin Williams was always able to go in and out of Robin Williams and the character like a switch. So I would love to see Robin Williams on the set of 1 Hour Photo or Insomnia, and go straight from those characters back into himself. Must have been wild.
Death of Smoochie, Almost Famous. Mighty Wind would be fun. Love being on the set of that.
I would say, even though we sort of got it to some extent from Peter Jackson, Let It Be. Because we did get that sort of tease as to like what John and Paul were going on about when George was sort of like left the group, but just that whole like seeing it unedited, 24/7 sort of thing, the whole workings of the director saying, oh yeah, let's get an amphitheater in the middle of in Africa to do it, it'll be an amazing thing there, and like their reluctance, and then like just being able to see that rooftop performance, and then sort of the aftermath after it, the few days afterwards, and try and work out what really did end the Beatles, if anything.
I think that is our show.
I feel like there's more answers to that will like keep coming to me throughout the week.
Yeah.
Because there's so many. Because there's so many like iconic scenes where you wonder about like where in the mix they got that particular take and what happened around it. Like what did the other takes look like?
Right. So that's your show, everyone. And as I'm sure it's not going to shock anybody in chat, we have a winner. So the first episode of Popcast Movie Club officially will be coming out on the 18th of April, unless something changes on the day, but it should be 6 or 7 p.m. that night. Just depends on when I work and the schedule. And we're going to be focusing on Robert Altman's The Player.
Which is, it's on Criterion and it's on HBO Max and it's around.
Yeah. I'm pleased I waited because last week on Amazon it was $6.99 to buy. This week randomly it's $2.99, which is the same price as a rental. So
nice.
Josie says, had a great time chatting with you all. See you all in 2 weeks. Absolutely.
I hate how tired I am today. I feel like I did not put as much into this as I should have.
But I think you did just fine. We still went over 3 hours, so we're good. That's your show, everyone. So we'll be back not next week, but the week after. Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If that changes, it'll be shown on the Twitter feed, my @SroAndDisney Twitter feed. Ashley can be found on Twitter @AshesMyNameUK. Snack Stash just got sent to me. That'll be up in a few days, so check that out. More gaming content coming on the network. More Snack Stashes coming for Ashley on the network somewhere down the line. AJ, once again, as always, cannot be found on social media and also killed by conventional weapons. But he also will provide you with a buttload of movie content for the rest of this week because we've got reviews coming up of X. And that's coming tomorrow. So that's your video for tomorrow. We got Morbius coming on the network very soon. We have a ton of movies, including Sonic and Ambulance and all points in between.
More specifically, tomorrow's is X, Deep Water, Cheaper by the Dozen, After Yang, and Windfall are all in this video.
That video will be up as soon as I get up for work tomorrow. Actually, no, not work tomorrow. So I get up to run tomorrow because I actually don't have to work till 10:30, but I got to run at 7. So I'll put it up as soon as I get back from my run. And then AJ's got content for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday, for Friday, and then Saturday would be Ashley's day. It looks like, and then we'll get back to more Voices content, more Sip and Snacks coming in the future as well. Follow me on Twitter if you'd like, @SroAndDisney, and that's going to be your show. So we've had a lot of fun tonight. Hopefully you enjoy the concept of Popcast Movie Club, and we want to have you join along with us. So watch the player, and we'll all talk about it in 2 weeks. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until next time, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.